What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am so excited you are here. We're gonna learn together. This is the Tarver Academy Summer Professional Development. We're gonna learn. Learning's happening. It's going down today. We're about to get started. My name is Tyler. I run Tarver Academy. It's an online resource for teachers and students and educators, and it's a great community where people just get involved and learn and get better. And I throw resources to you guys, throw ideas around. It's just a lot of fun. Just a whole lot of fun, Tarver Academy. So if you need anything, I'm here. TarverAcademy.com has a ton of resources and things that you can go to check out. A little bit about me, just so you know, you don't think I'm just like, hey, here's a random YouTuber talking about, videos or whatever. My name's Tyler. I started out teaching high school math, and then I moved into a tech director / facilitator role. Then I was a principal of a school, 6th through 12th grade. 6th through 12th grade. Fun ages. That's good stuff, okay? Good stuff. Never any drama, 6th through 12th grade. No drama. And our school had waivers from the state, so we did a lot of online, we did a lot of blended, we did a lot of in-person learning, all the above. So we get to learn a lot, make some mistakes, do some stuff right, and try to learn from everything we did. Then after that, I went to central office, and I was director of curriculum instruction, and now I'm the dean of NLC College. And I'm so excited to be here, learning and growing with you guys. I'm also giving a little bit of time for people to jump in, get started, and we're about to go through some of the housekeeping stuff. We're gonna do a little check-in right now at the beginning, and then at the end of this video, at the end of this training, we're going to have a chance for you to get a certificate showing that you actually showed up and you did the learning, okay? I think that this training and the other trainings that you are gonna get the chance to be a part of this summer are gonna help you grow as an educator. And if you grow as an educator, all it does is help the students and the community that you live in. And so let's try our best to learn something, take something away from this that we can put in our repertoire and get better with. Okay, so the first thing I need you guys to do is I need us to check in, okay? And this check-in, what it does is it timestamps when you are here so that you might not need this later, but if your administrator or whoever comes back and they're like, how do I know you didn't just click to the end? This shows that you were here at the beginning. So you can scan the QR code that is on the screen if you have your cell phone. And on my phone with me, get your phone out. I'll use my wallet, Atlanta Braves wallet. Film that, you just hold your phone over that QR code that you see on the screen. You'll see something pop up at the top. Click that and it'll take you to where you can fill out that you were here. It's very short, very quick. I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to do that right now. Go ahead, scan the QR code, go to the website, check in, and when you do that, you will get an email. If you do not get an email immediately, this happened, I told you, I was a tech director for a long time, okay? I'd say a long time. I was a tech director long enough to know that if you don't get that email that you're filling out right now, it's because you typed your email address in wrong. That's exactly what happens. 19 times out of 19 and a half times, that's what happens. So go ahead and go to that. Remember, at the end of this session, there's gonna be another QR code that you're gonna scan that is going to give you the certification saying that you actually did the training. Both of these are time-stamped. So if your administrator or whoever's in charge of PD for your district wants to see that and be like, how do I know you did this? You've got your check-in email that is time-stamped by me, not by you. It's into a PDF or it's into that email. And then you will also have the timestamp on your certificate showing that you did this. Okay, so hopefully everybody is getting that done. Okay, giving you a little bit of time. If you have any trouble, just keep trying because I think it's pretty important to get that logged in. Now, while we're doing that, if you're finishing that up, or if you can hear me, what I would love for you to do is I would love for you to hit the red subscribe button. This is my YouTube channel, Tarver Academy. That's what I call it. It's kind of where I got this started. I had this before I had the website, and then I put up the website to put all the resources and all the stuff I was doing. But if you would hit the red subscribe button right now, that would be huge. That would be just super cool of you. And that way, you can hopefully see some of the other trainings that I'm doing, see some videos I do throughout the year to help teachers, to help students, to have fun and learn together. So hit that red subscribe button. Did you do it? Did you? You get the like too, the little thumbs up. That's just YouTube etiquette. You get the thumbs up. It's just really nice to do. So you want to hit the thumbs up button, you can. And I would love to start this. How about this? in the chat, okay? Because if you're watching this on my website, which is where you can watch it, that's fine. You're not gonna see the chat, but if you click and watch this on YouTube, you're gonna see a chat rolling on the side of the screen. Start it off. I want you guys in the chat to say who you are, like give your name, tell us what you teach and where you teach, okay? If you're an administrator, you can say that I'm a principal, or you can say your central office, whatever you do. I've got some people that have signed up for this that are aspiring educators. So this is great to say, I wanna be an educator, I wanna be an English teacher for high school, throw that in there. If you wanna be a kindergarten teacher, toss that in there, say you're in school. It's a great way to network, because I think there is an amazing community of educators here wanting to learn and grow together. And I think that it's great if we look out for each other. So throw in the chat, I want you to say your name, what you teach, and where you teach. Throw that in the chat. All right, man, we're doing good. We're doing good. It's our warm up. We're feeling good. We're stretching it out. It's always good to stretch before you stretch. I don't know, I heard some friends say that, so I say it from time to time. Okay, next thing. This is another little thing. I've got one right here. So I've written a couple books. I've done Superheroes Need Sleep Too. This is a children's book. It's like a nap time book, so you don't have to read that. But this one I think is super relevant for you. This is the Baller Teacher Playbook, and in it I have like practical advice. It's 18 chapters. So the idea is that you could do this like once a week with your team for a full semester, or every other week for a year, and try to improve your teaching every week. I'm not doing this to sell it to you. I'm doing this to say I'm giving some of these away all summer to people that are participating in this. So if you want a chance to win one of these, or I think I probably got some other educator books. If you're like, I don't really want your book, Tyler, I got a ton of educator books. I'll send them to you. All you got to do, follow me on Instagram at Tyler Tarver. Follow me at Tyler Tarver on Instagram, and I'm gonna be giving these out throughout the summer. You might be the person I give it to. So follow me on Instagram, and then throw something in your Instagram story if you want, just to increase your chances of me seeing it. So I'm just gonna be clicking through. I see people follow on Instagram. I'm gonna throw out stuff to them. So random people will get it. You might not, but you won't if you don't. So there we go. Y'all feeling good? Does everybody feel good? Everybody throw in the chat who they are, where they teach, what they teach. Okay, so to explain also what this is, you are watching, this is a live broadcast. So this is going as a YouTube premiere or a full-on live video. So one of the two. Either way, that chat is happening live. Everybody that jumps into this video at any point is gonna be watching it at the same time as you. So it's great to get in the chat and talk, discuss, ask questions, give input. If we ask a question in the video, you can type it in your notes, but you can also type it in the chat. You can copy paste from the chat. It's a great way for you to be a part of this live broadcast, okay? So if you have a Google Notes, if you have a notes document, if you wanna take notes by hand, I've got a template for notes if you want. It sent it to you whenever you filled out your email. It should have been on that page whenever you did your check-in at the beginning. If not, it's on like every PD page. I have my website, tarveracademy.com. Click on PD and you get a free notes template, or you can take notes in your own doc. However you want to do it, take notes, write down stuff that's relevant to you, and copy paste stuff that people put in the chat. There's gonna be people in the chat that are way smarter than me. And so I'd love for you to copy paste that into the notes, and you can take that and make your teaching game elevate. So next thing, while we're getting logged in, people are still jumping in here. They're still jumping in the video, giving you a few minutes to do that. We're also, if you want to watch these videos, because after this ends, it's going to be gone off of here. However, I'm going to be putting all of these trainings, all like 30 something trainings. I think it's over like 120 hours worth of trainings. I'm putting all of that for people that join what I call the Tarver Academy Honor Roll. It's a small group of educators who are trying to get better every week, and I send out weekly emails during the school year to where you're getting templates, you're getting resources, back to school starter kits, you're getting templates for Google Forms, trainings, PDs, tons of stuff every single week delivered to your inbox. And also you have access to all of these trainings. That is available if you go to tarveracademy.com/honor roll if you want to. I think it's a great decision. It's a great decision. Nobody's in here. Who am I talking to? I'm not talking to anybody. Okay, y'all feel good? Y'all ready to start? Y'all feel good? This is a little warm up. We'll explain what's going on. Everybody feel good? 1 to 10. Put in the chat how you feel today. Or give me this, how about this? Give me an emoji of how you're feeling today. That'd be better, 1 to 10, or give me an emoji. I'd love to see it. Or just give me a word. You're like, I don't want to do an emoji. Give me a word. How you feeling today? And let's get rolling. Remember, input in the chat, take notes, learn, grow. Welcome to the best professional development that you're gonna do. Not guaranteed, but it's an opinion, but it's also true, but it might be biased, but it's gonna be a great summer. It's gonna be a great training. Hope you guys learn something. Hope this adds you value that you can then bring to your students and make your school, your community, yourself better in some way. Guys, we're about to get started. Y'all excited? Y'all ready? About to do this. Let's get ready to learn and have fun. Tarver Academy. Let's go. Let's go. Hit it. Let's go. Hey, what's up everybody? Tyler here. I'm so excited you're joining us today with the Google Innovator Showcase. And so what this is, what the idea behind today's session is that you get the chance to not only see my Google Innovator project, but you get the chance to hear from a ton of my friends who have made some incredible projects. They're gonna walk through theirs, why they made it, how to access it, and what you can do to utilize their resources. And so I think it's gonna be an incredible journey. And if you don't know much about Google Innovator, I've got some friends that are going to explain it, but I wanna kind of give you a quick overview before they go into it. We're gonna talk a lot about Google Innovator, and we're gonna talk about Google Trainer. And so those are two certifications that Google has, and let me explain them. So Google Innovator, it's where they have like usually about 4 cohorts a year in different locations around the world. And people apply by submitting a project that they want to work on. They submit a project of something they want to do in education that possibly Google can help with, or Google products can help with. And then if they're accepted, they get the chance to go to one of these locations and build out their project as they go. And then they have this, like throughout the year, they have a mentor that walks them through it, and they're building out this project over the year, and then they submit it and they do a showcase where they get to do it. And I wanted to feature the showcase for you guys, give you some ideas, and hopefully encourage you to apply as a Google certified innovator. Now, we're also gonna talk a little bit today about Google certified trainers. Trainers a little different. That is where you show that you are training people in Google. You submit a short video with instructions, like you're instructing someone how to do something with Google, and then you show some of your credentials of things you've done to, advance some of the Google products within your organization or your area or online. And then you can use all of those skill sets to become a Google certified trainer. So you got a Google certified innovator, you got a Google certified trainer. Now you can't do either of those unless you have a Google level 1 teaching certification and Google level 2 teaching certification. So get those first and then apply to be an innovator and or a trainer. I've had the opportunity to be an innovator and an opportunity to be a trainer. Innovator, they take less people every year. As an innovator trainer, you don't go as a group and train somewhere. You're doing the training on your own, and you're proving that you're actually doing that training and you're training others. But it's a lot harder to get in. I say harder to get in. It's a lot more smaller group for innovator. That's the best way to say it. So before we get started, I wanted to share with you a video from May at Google for Education. She oversees a ton of stuff at Google, including the Google Certified Trainer department. And I'll have a quick word from her, and I'm just so excited. She is a wonderful human being, and she has done so many great things for not only Google, but for education in general. And she's a wonderful support to us as trainers and innovators. So May, take it away.
Hi everyone, my name is May Chu and I work for Google for Education. Some of you may have seen my face before if you guys are Google for Education certified trainers, because I'm the program manager for our trainer and GEG programs. But if you don't know me, again, my name is May. I've been at Google for about almost 6 years now. Prior to that, I was a high school math teacher here in San Jose, California. And before that, I was actually in finance, and I graduated from UC Berkeley with a business degree and an education minor. So that's kind of my background. I'm really excited to be able to connect with educators like yourselves every single day. You might have heard me say this before, but I'm genuinely passionate about my job solely because I get to connect with educators like yourself, like Tyler, who's doing amazing things, leading amazing PD sessions, all for the benefit of educators to take it back to their districts to help their students. I can't say how grateful I am and how thankful I am to all of you and all of the work that you guys do for our communities, for our even families and students. And I'm really impressed, constantly impressed, very proud. And thank you all for always sharing and contributing and collaborating with each other. Feel free to go on our website and look up our trainer program and innovator programs if you haven't heard of it before. I definitely encourage you to apply. You can ask Tyler for my contact information on Twitter if you need to, and I'm happy to discuss more. But thank you again. Thank you, Tyler, so much for letting me come in with a short clip to say hi to everyone. Hope you have an awesome PD session, and yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so if you could go find her on Twitter and give her a shout out, tell her thank you, tell her just say hi, just check in, give her some social media love, and do that for all the people that are presenting today. So I want to kind of talk you through what it looks like to apply to be a Google certified innovator. Okay, so first we're going to read through it. I'm going to make my face smaller, make my screen bigger. Okay, so the idea behind Google Innovator, and again, I want to start with this. I don't work for Google. Not employed by Google. And so this is just Tyler talking about a program that I am genuinely passionate about. And so I wanted you guys to see it. So transforming education with a project that you're passionate about as a certified innovator. Okay, this is really a global community. After you get out, you go into this group. They have messages with your cohort, like in some Google chats. And then you also have like a larger like Google group where you're communicating, throwing out resources, tips, asking for help. You get a lot of opportunities to grow with some of the best educators in the world. And the idea behind an innovator project is that you have a problem and you want to try to solve it. And, I applied 2 times at the same time. So I made 2 videos and applied twice and I didn't get in. Okay. I was not successful. And then I applied again and I was able to get into the program. And I'm going to show you each of those application videos, and I'm going to kind of talk through why I think my third video was more successful than the other ones. As of right now, they may have opened it up by the time you're seeing this, but as of right now, they don't have open applications for the cohorts. However, that doesn't mean you can't start thinking about what you want to do and what you want to build within the world of technology for education. Not only are you doing that, you're an advocate for technology. You're doing things to help improve not only your classroom, but the classrooms in your building, classrooms around the country and around the world. And that's the idea behind all of the projects that our innovators they don't belong to me. The innovators around the world are creating. I guess I'm part of the group, so I can say our, that fits, right? If it doesn't, just let me know in the chat. I'm so sorry about that. So you're going to get the chance to launch those products. You've got some quotes from people. All I did is edu.google.com/teacher-center, teacher-center and /programs. Honestly, what I do is I just Google certified innovator and I click on the first link that's from Google. And that's where I go. This is their little logo for innovator. It's got that little guy. That's pretty cool. Right, I think I've got something right here. Where is it? Come on. Do I have it? No, I've got like a little patch. Because like whenever you get in, a lot of people, by the way, I don't know where they sent the memo out for this or what, but a lot of people brought stickers and somebody had patches, and I've got a sticker on my laptop. I can't use it because I'm using it for this. But actually afterwards, which stinks because I would have done this afterwards, one of my best friends, he heard that I got in to Innovator, and so he knows I love shoes. So he made some Jordan 1s with the Innovator logo at the time. I think, it's still the top of it. So Innovator logo. Oh, you can't see it because there we go. This is so important. We need to make this full screen. Look at that. The Innovator logo to wear, and it has my name, Tarver Academy. Not my name, but my education stuff. Okay, that's it. I just thought that was cool, and I didn't have it, but other people brought it, and they were prepared, and I was not. Okay, so I want to show you a few examples of some videos that I proposed So we're going to start with the 2 that did not get accepted. Okay, so I'm going to show you those. These are 2 separate proposals back to back. So I'm going to show you those right now. Load them up. Load them up. So first one, here we go. Oh, hi. What's up? It's me, Tyler. You might know me from being a Google certified trainer and YouTube videos. And also this one time, I may have seen you at Taco Bell. You never know. But enough about me. Let's talk about how we can change education, shall we? Here's the deal. Too often, teachers are having to spend their time looking for good curriculum, good videos, things that they can use in their classroom for their students. So what I'm proposing is that we organize this for them. This will not only save them money because they're spending all this money on an LMS, a learning management system. They've got Google. Google has everything like YouTube, Drive, Sheets, Forms, Docs, Slides, whatever. It's got everything they need in their classrooms. It's not cheap to buy this curriculum that you don't really have a lot of options in changing. Or you can save the money and build the curriculum yourself, but then you're having to spend your time not getting to know your students, build rapport, and learn how they learn. You're having to spend it on getting and finding good quality instruction. So here's my idea. So we give the teachers the initial information to give the students, the resources to review where they're walking around helping them, and the third one is they're getting assessed on the information. And we give them everything. It's there. They have it, they make a copy, and they can adjust it to fit them as a teacher. It seems pretty simple, but nobody's doing it for free. So let's do it for free, because we're Google. We like to help teachers, we like to help students. Okay, so the idea with that video, my proposal there was that I wanted to create a curriculum with video, Google Forms, some, maybe there's some slides, notebooks, workbooks, all this stuff. I want to create it to where it had all of it just created for people. Like you start with kind of a basic one, and then you can start adapting based on different state standards. But you have, essentially all of it. I wanted to have a curriculum that anybody can go in and just pick, like boom, 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 and they are able to download all of the resources they need and save, tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for their school or themselves, and just have it all for free. And so that was the idea, and it was not accepted. Okay, now I'm going to show you my second one. This is the second video I did. This one was a little more elaborate, but I submitted both at the same time, and this one was not accepted either. So let's take a gander at that. Take this walk with me. We gotta hurry. I'm running out of time. Come on. Okay guys, here, step into my office, come on. I'm sweating because I'm so hyped, not because I don't do enough cardio. I want to do a YouTube education conference. Have different YouTube educators that people watch every single day and connect with their class and as teachers. Have them come in, do sessions, breakouts, make it a fun experience. Yeah, we'll do Google for Education, but we're gonna do a lot of features of YouTube educators. It'll be like the creator stuff you do with vloggers that do stuff like this. Hey, what's up guys? Dabbing, but just for educators. I think it could be a great experience, a way to connect with people that we see online every day, because you guys know, we connect more with people we see online now than the people we see in movies. I love it. I think it'll be a great experience. Thanks for considering, or at least watching this far into this video. I don't know if I made it in the time limit. I mean, I had to. You guys won't consider it, so I'm gonna take a nap. Good night, guys. Okay, so that one, the idea was that you create a conference, and this is pre-pandemic. It was a conference where you would get a bunch of YouTube educators, have them come in, and they would give their thoughts on education, learning, digital, connecting with students through screens, which would have come in handy during the pandemic. All of that, how they build community among their students that aren't even in their real class, that are just students on the internet. So that was the idea for that one, and it was not accepted either. Okay, so now I want to take a moment to watch the video that actually got accepted. Hey guys, my name's Tyler Tarver, and I was thinking of a problem in education that I wanted to try to help use Google to solve. And one of the things that I noticed through building curriculum is that you build these curriculum plans for teachers, and it keeps everybody on the same page and gives them a track, and it gives them you can build a great skeleton and they build the body for what the class looks like, but it stays close enough to where you're consistent. I don't feel like there is a lot of good stuff for my school and maybe some other schools that is a consistent curriculum or program or track for culture. And I think culture is so undervalued when that can make or break a school or a classroom. And so I want to work on something to help guide a culture, even if you're not in the same physical classroom. And that's what I want to work towards figuring out. Thank you guys so much. Hope you have a great day. Be good. Okay, bye. Okay, so that one was a little bit different. The idea for that was essentially to build, I wanted to help solve the problem within my school, maybe some other schools, where you have a program for culture, building culture in your classroom. And the thought behind it is that people could go in and essentially choose the skill sets they want to build in their students, and then they get the curriculum. It's like a workbook, a video, kind of like I talked about with the curriculum for everybody, but this one's focused on culture because I think culture is one of the most undervalued aspects of quality schools. And so that was the thought behind that one. And in the back of my head, I had some stuff that I had done through my keynotes that I do on being a baller teacher, and it ended up being a book. Here it is. There's only 400 of them in here. I ended up writing a book. I'll probably tell you about it later. I always do. But I think it can help in the classroom. It's about empowering students, young learners. It's about engaging students and creating a culture that you want to be a part of and your students want to be a part of in your classroom. And so that's what it ended being, even though my final project did not look like that, which I'm going to show you in a minute. So let's talk about why I think that my original two did not get chosen and why my last one did get chosen. And through talking to other people who were accepted in the Innovator program, I think that there's a good chance that this is the correct answer on why. And I don't work for Google. I don't know. They didn't tell me this. I'm just giving my thoughts. In the first two videos, okay? So the first video is I want to create a curriculum for everybody where they can have it. The second one was I want to create a YouTube conference, for YouTube education conference. So those are the two ideas. Third one was I said, hey, there's a lot of schools that need help organizing and, promoting and talking about positive culture. The difference is the first two, I had the solution to the problem. In the last one, I didn't. I had the problem. And that's what I've heard is the most successful when you're submitting your application to the Innovator Academy or Google Certified Innovator program. Have the problem, and you're going to figure out at the Innovator, I'm just going to keep calling it Academy. I don't know what it's called, but at the Innovator Academy, that's where you're going to figure it out. That's where you're going to try to solve it using the help of other people, the help of your mentors, people at your table, and people from Google. Okay. So they're going to try to help you with it. Don't have the solution when you submit your project. Have the problem that you think needs to be solved and that you think some sort of technology could solve. And here's the deal. You saw all three of those videos. The first one was a little bit, I edited, I shot it with my camera that you're watching this on right now. It's like my good camera. Shot it, edited it, and then uploaded it. The second video, there's a lot of editing. There was a drone, there was running, there was sweating. There was a lot of stuff that went into that second video, the YouTube conference one. And it was a lot of work and it didn't get accepted. And I was like, oh, I thought that was a pretty neat video. I was like, one of my better videos, and it didn't get accepted. It's not about how cool the video is. It's about the idea. It's about the problem that you are trying to solve. And they don't want you to have an answer for it. The third video, I'm going to be straight honest with you guys. That video, I was driving home from work and I realized as I was driving home, I was like, oh my goodness, that Innovator application is due tonight. It was due that night. I hadn't done any of it. And so I was like, oh my goodness, what's the thing that I want to solve? And I've been kind of thinking this in the back of my brain, this culture thing that I wanted to help with. And so I was sitting in traffic and I was at a stoplight and I recorded that video on my phone. I literally just propped my phone up next to the window, looked at the camera, not at myself, looked at the camera, and I recorded it. And then on my way home, I had the questions and I would just talk into Google Docs and I would answer the questions. And then we had dinner. I couldn't like just work on it at home only. It's and I was safe, I promise. We were going on a double date with some of our friends, and so I wasn't going to have time to do that night. So I just did that through Google Docs, copy pasted it over, hit submit like with like a few minutes left, and that was my application. And it was accepted, and it was a lot less. I say it was less work. It was less finalized in my brain. And I think that's the trick when you're submitting your project. And here's the deal. My final project, as you're going to see, did not end up looking like that. And so this makes me want to talk about a concept that they have at Google, and they talked about this with us. It's called the fail bail. We have these circular tables, and we're groups of 6. Okay. So it's 42 of us. So it's 7 groups of 6. And we're all in these groups, and each table has a mentor that's sitting at the table as well. And that's somebody that's already been through the program that's helping guide our table. And we were working through our projects, and each table had a bell on it. And one of the things that Google talks about a lot, or talked about at this, was they have a ton of programs that have failed. They've got stuff. Google Glass. I'm not wearing them. You're not wearing them. Google Glass didn't work. What was it? What was the thing? It's supposed to replace Facebook? Google Plus. Remember Google Plus? Yeah, rest in peace, Google Plus. It's gone. They've got a ton of stuff that they started that didn't work out. But we don't think of Google as a failure. The search engine, YouTube, Drive, Doc Sheets, Slides, Forms, all of that, it's successful. And we think of them as success because they want to have a culture of failure, but not just failure and quitting, failure and learning and making it better. Okay. So what we would do at our table when we're working on our projects, if we realize, hey, this has already been done, or this isn't necessary, or I need to pivot my project. I'm sorry, that's from what Nate in the chat. What is that from? Pivot. If you realize at your table that you needed to change your project, then what you would do is you would have to go in and you would ring that bell that's on your table, and everyone would start cheering because we wanted to celebrate that you had a failure that you learned from and you're growing from. And I think that's a cool mentality. It's something I incorporate into a lot of my talks I do for teachers is we have to have the freedom to fail. And as long as we know that failure isn't final, that we can learn and grow from that, it's always going to make us better as long as we learn and grow from it. And I think that was a really cool aspect of something I got the chance to experience firsthand from a pretty cool company, AKA Google. Okay. So are you guys ready? Do you want to see what my actual project ended up being besides like a book? That this wasn't part of it, but I did make this book because of what I wanted to help educators with. So let's go ahead and do this. And you can actually, my project is one that you can go in and actually use and put to use and use it for yourself, your fellow teachers, or your students. Okay, so you just go to tarveracademy.com. I'm going to make myself small. Make myself smaller, make my screen bigger. Okay, so when you go to tarveracademy.com, let me toss that up so in case you're just joining us, tarveracademy.com. Okay, go there, and then you're going to go to resources, and then you're going to go to courses. So as I was creating it, it's like writing a book. Like I did a lot of work for this. Yes, it's got stuff where people can go through as groups. They can work through it for themselves. It's like a playbook, a workbook. But I wrote this myself, and the completion of this depended on me writing and then, putting it out there. Obviously, I had a guy that edited it, but getting it done was on me. And I thought, okay, that's fine. But I think it would be more advantageous if I could create something that anybody could be a part of and build and create. And so, because here's my thing, we've talked about it before, like when you're a student, you learn because you hear and you have to like do and work. But when you become a teacher, you learn so much more. And so what I was thinking was, instead of me saying, hey, here's how you should change the culture in your classroom, what if I allowed and built the mechanism for other educators or students to go in and be the expert? We're all experts of something. In the chat, write down something in the chat that you feel like you are above average on. Okay, like you're exceeding expectations. You know a little bit more. I'm not saying you're an expert. I'm not saying you're a genius. I'm saying you're a little bit better on. I'm pretty decent at social media. I think I'm pretty okay at I don't know, I just said social media, doing podcasts, doing YouTube videos. I feel like I'm not perfect, but I'm just like a little bit like I've got the experience to kind of elevate me a little bit. There's something you have experience of that you can be better at than most people. Hopefully you've all seen Tarver Academy. I'm going to take this off so you have more room to see. Okay. So what I decided to do was I wanted to build a course generator where other educators or their students could build courses. So right here, I've got, on the left side, this is where I've put courses that either I created or my students or other teachers have created. So like right here, this is a YouTube 101 course, and I created it. And what it is, it's in this Google Doc. And the idea is that you can go in and teach your students or your staff or teachers or yourself how to use YouTube. And so you would go in, there's like an introduction, and I have all this. Like I've got a video, supplementary video for it. You would go in like a welcome video. I've got a personal application question. I've got a discussion question. So the idea would be that you could go in as an instructor and you could take this video and you could paste it in Google Classroom. You could put this as the application. So this is the assignment. And then you make a group discussion based off of it with this. So you're creating not only one individual student creating their assignment, but you have them creating the discussion. So that's the idea. Like it's how I would want to do a lesson every day. You have the resource, which is either a video or a document or whatever it is. So you get the description, the resource, the personal application, that's like the assignment for the student, and then the discussion question. That's how they collaborate with their classmates. And so this is the course. I've created the template for a course that somebody could go through every day with their students. Now, I also, when I was teaching one of our college classes at the college I work for, I actually had my students go in and use this we were doing intro to computers, and the students actually had to go in and create courses through this system, through this program. And that's kind of how I like beta tested it, was with my own students, which is the best way, right? To try it is with your own students in your own class. And so my students went in and created several courses, and these docs should, like Google for communication and collaboration. Nope, that goes to a YouTube video. That's not what we want. Go to, let's see. These are all, nope, here it is. Here's another one, digital citizenship course. So my class actually made this one together. And so they went in and they created this class, digital citizenship. They used some of my videos. They used some of Google stuff. They created questions. They added other resources. Actually, and then look, it filled in, created by NLCC students. So they're going in and they're creating that entire doc. And all the docs look similar. And it's not like I just gave them the doc template and they did it. Part of what I did was, and again, I was going to go in and create the template for culture. And then I was talking to my mentor, Chris, and he was like, bro, I think the system you built to make the course, that's your project. And so I rang the fail bell and I pivoted from here's a course on culture, which again, ended up being this. And then the actual project I submitted was becoming a course creator. And so what I did, you can check it. Here are some of the community courses. Oh, I went to the left side. That's YouTube videos I made. On the right side, these are all courses that students or educators created that you can use. So you could use this for lessons for your class. You could also go in and create your own. So what they would do is they would go in and fill out this form. And I'm going to go ahead and do Tyler at tarveracademy.com. And I made these videos where instead of them having to think like, oh, what do I do here for this part?
You know about for other people. You call it course, you call it lesson plan.
This is me talking through how to be a course creator. And so I made a video saying, this is what you're doing. This is the project. And then they put their name. I'm going to put Taylor Travers. It's not my name, but it's funny to say. Your social media link. To Instagram.com/Tyler Tarver. Follow me on Instagram. What's up? Holla at your boy. Hit next. Now, what you would do is you would go in and create the course. This is where you would create the title of the course. We call it YouTube 101. Big question, how do I use YouTube? Course description, blah, about you, blah, social media account, blah. Okay, you would actually put these in here. And then they could watch. What they're going to do is they're going to build out each of the sections. And so it's like essentially guiding your students or you through how to build out this. And so you want good personal application questions and you want good discussion questions. So I made videos walking people through
You're wanting to
how to make a personal application question. And then they ask the personal application for the whole course, the question, and then they have to do at least 3 modules to create this course. They can do up to 10, at least 3. Okay. And so when they do hit submit, what they do is they get this all filled into that doc template that I created. And it'll email it directly to them. It goes into a library where other people can get them. And so like right here, this is a link to the library that everyone's course goes into. So any students, teachers, anybody that creates a course, it automatically goes into this course library. And so it's got the name of the course and who created it. So that's the idea. So anybody could go in here, how to be a runner using the Nike Run Club app. This was created by Sammy, and she can now add to a library of things that people can go in and learn and use as a course. So that's the idea for mine. If you want that, tarveracademy.com, and then you just go click under resources and go to courses. So, and I'll have that linked on the page for this. So if you want it, you can take it. So that was my project. And that was the one that I did to try to help education, was to create a template for somebody to create a course. And, you know, I think that's super popular right now on the internet is, creating master classes out of what you know about. You'd see those ads on Instagram all the time. It's like, oh, this is a course from Steph Curry on how to shoot a basketball, or a course from Scorsese on how to do a video. So that's the idea for that. And that was my Innovator project. Okay. So I think we got a fun day ahead of us. We've a fun session, and I'm going to let you hear from each of my friends, and I'm actually just going to let them roll one after the other. And you're going to get the chance to see all of their projects and what they've created. And hopefully it inspires you. What I would recommend is in your notes page or your Google Doc, start brainstorming what you want to do. Use their ideas and my idea, and use that as a starter pack to create your own. Okay. Start thinking of like, what's the problem I want to solve? And then whenever the cohorts open up, you can apply to be an innovator. And so, and maybe they'll accept me as a mentor, and I'll get to be, how cool would that be? Is if you watch this and inspires you, you get accepted, and I get to be your mentor. How dope would that be? I think that'd be pretty cool. Okay, so hope you guys like that. And we're going to probably do a little break, and then we're going to jump into everyone's projects. Make sure you check them out, hit them up on social media, give them some love for taking some time to be a part of this and share their project that they spent hours working on. Thank you guys, and I'll see you here in a minute. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Hey, it's Tyler here. I'm just going to give you a little break. So if you need to go do something, you need to go use the restroom, get a snack, get something to eat, whatever, you can go do that. I was going to chat with you about some stuff, give you some time to do that and check in, maybe say hi. If you want in the chat, let's do a little check-in. In the chat, how you feeling? Toss in your emoji of how you're feeling right now. Let's do a little emoji checkup, if you will. So while you're doing that, I do want to give, you know what? I spent a lot of time writing this book, and I genuinely think this book is going to help you in your classroom. It's gonna inspire you more than anything. It's a read with me, and one of the things that I feel like I've never been the smartest dude in the room. I've never been, the most talented, but I'll say this, I was always been pretty approachable, I think. I've been approachable, and I think what this is, I've tried to be as relatable as possible. I'm talking about my experiences, things I've run into in the classroom, what I've learned as a teacher and as an administrator and as a student, what I learned. And so this is the Baller Teacher Playbook. If you're interested in checking this out, I recommend, of course I recommend, it's my book. It's not the best book on education, but I think it's good enough to help you in some way. It's got a lot of practical experience in it. I've got quotes. That's a do you boo-boo. I could have picked a better chapter. Here's one thing. I want to show you one thing that I did at the end of each chapter, because I know teachers. Okay, I put in practical application, I put in reflection, because we know reflection is important, even though we never have time to do it. But it's got spots for you to write that in. So this is something you can work on by yourself or with your team. But here's the part that I did, and this is legit just for teachers. I don't know if you can see that. I put in, at the end of each chapter, I have a section called TLDR. That's internet talk for too long, didn't read. So what that means is, let's say you've got a team meeting, okay? Because there's 18 chapters in here. That means you and your team, or you and your building, you can go through a chapter once a week. You meet on your planning period, spend 10 minutes talking about what you did, what you tried, what worked, what didn't work, stuff to help improve your class and improve your students. Every week you can do that. Have you ever done this? In the chat, be honest, you ready? Have you ever had a team meeting where you're supposed to read something and you're walking over to the meeting and you're like, oh no, I forgot to read the thing I'm supposed to read that we're gonna discuss for like 15 minutes. So you like just try to chill and like hopefully don't get called on or get called out for not reading it. At the end of each chapter, I have a section called TLDR where in like 2 to 5 bullet points, I summarize the chapter. So you could be walking to the meeting, you could read these 3 or 4 bullet points and be able to have a conversation about the entire chapter. There's stories in here, there's practical experience, there's ways that I messed up, ways that I failed, and then ways that I feel like I succeeded, and just talking through what I learned from both of those. And I would love for you to learn and grow with me. So if you want to check out that book, it's on Amazon. I'll have a link on the screen if you want to get it. Link is in my bio. I link links everywhere to it. So Baller Teacher Playbook. I think it can help you in your classroom. Okay, we're about to get started. Kick back into it. Hopefully you're ready to roll, ready to go. And let's jump back in. Let's jump back in like Michael Phelps, okay? Well, does that work? Does that work? I mean, he jumps into the pool. That's what I was going for. I need to know more like high diver. High divers would have been better. I'll tell you this. We're gonna stick the landing like Carrie Strug. Y'all remember her? Carrie Strug, remember the Olympics? Georgia Olympics? Atlanta Olympics? Remember that? It's okay. It's a very narrow reference. All right, let's get started. Let's kick it off. Let's jump back in. Get your notes out. Get your screens pulled up. Get your coffee ready. Get your ice water. Your sweet tea. If you're from Arkansas like me, you know you like that sweet tea. And we're about to kick it off. Here we go. Let's get back in it. Let's get back in it. I'll see you guys.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Kiefer, and I am a Google Certified Innovator, Trainer, and Level 1 and Level 2 Certified Educator. I love all things Google, and I was lucky enough a little more than a year ago to attend the hashtag NYC19 Google Innovator Academy in New York City. And let's just say that I was blown away. My journey with Google actually started off with me sitting in a meeting with my principal, thinking in my head, if he says Google Calendar one more time, I think I might just get up and walk out. And then through being forced to use Google Calendar, I fell in love with it. And I finally understood why my district was moving in that direction. And I ended up embracing it, loving it, and I haven't looked back. I say that because this has been a journey. It has a starting point that really has been built upon a whole lot of other things to get me to that point in my career. I was a classroom teacher and was a classroom teacher for 14 years. And then I shifted into my technology role. But as a classroom teacher is where I began my Google journey. And I began it with the students and seeing the power in being able to provide options for them. And then I just took that and I ran with it. And then I myself fell in love with all of the Google tools to the point where I became a Google certified trainer after mastering the level 1, level 2 educator. And then I set a pretty lofty goal for myself, and that was to apply for and get into the Google Innovator Academy. I was not successful in my first attempt. To be quite honest, I did not take it 100% seriously enough, and I didn't put forth my best effort. And I remember that because it keeps me grounded, and I am not some amazing person. I love Google, and I hope that passion comes through. In the second round that I applied for NYC19, I really did put forth a tremendous amount of effort, and I really gave it a good attempt, and I was honored with being able to attend it. And I was asked to come with a problem that I wanted to solve, not a solution. I came with a problem, and really my problem resides or sprouts from my day-to-day job. As a technology integration specialist, I work with two buildings, two elementary buildings, so pre-K to 4. I was a classroom teacher at 7th and 8th grade. So when I shifted down, it was a revolution in my thinking. I really had to adjust. I couldn't do things the way I was doing in my 7th and 8th grade classroom with first graders. It doesn't work that way. So I had to go through a big growth process with all of that. And I loved every minute of it. I still love every minute of it. But what I started realizing was with 2 buildings to support, I can't do it all as much as I want to. And I love having conversations with teachers. I love working with students. And I love seeing how the teachers were growing and embracing and trying new things. And the students were at the same time. And I wanted to only encourage that even more. Even if I couldn't be the one person to like hold their hands or to walk that journey with them, I wanted them to be able to experience innovation in whatever way that it worked for them. Maybe I was a part of that journey, maybe I wasn't. And I was hoping that with coming up with something that I could share with my teachers, with you, with everyone, that you can see that you can do and you can be innovative. And innovative doesn't have to be these ginormous, like, oh, I'm going to go create an app. It doesn't have to be. It could just be to fit that need for one particular student in your classroom. And when you do that and you make that happen for that one particular kid, it's such a good feeling. And it's that feeling that gets you going, and then you do another project. Or maybe you don't. So my whole Innovator project that I'd like to share with you today is, I've dubbed it Innovation You Can Do. And that's in large part because the blog that I've been writing for the last couple years, I called it Tech You Can Do, because I do believe that you don't have to have massive certifications. You don't have to, have been in school for various technology trainings and all that kind of stuff. You can do technology. And I want to inspire that in the teachers' lives that I touch, the students' lives that I touch. And technology can be a lot of things. The innovation can be a lot of things. So I share out roughly once a week on my blog, Tech You Can Do. And I share out a lot of the adventures that I am lucky enough to experience right along those teachers that I work with on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes it's adventures that I go on with my own children. I have 3 girls of my own. Oldest one is in high school, youngest one is a 3rd grader. So there's a big difference in the age and the abilities and the desires. They can do technology. The teachers I work with can do technology. The kids that I work with can do technology. And all of them are innovative. All of them are taking those steps to continue on. So my project really is very, very simplistic. It's basically a structure that walks you through and guides you and helps you and gives you those feelings and like, this is how I can do it. It asks some questions at different times, and I do highly, highly suggest that you work with someone. So on my cover of this workbook, if you will, because this can be digital, you could print it out. Give your project a title. It doesn't have to be anything phenomenal, spectacular, or whatever. And then the designer is the person that wants to do or troubleshoot or complete something. And then the collaborator is somebody that you partner with. I do feel very strongly that having a collaborator is important, because I have seen how I might have this brilliant idea in my head, but the second I have to explain it to somebody else, the second that I have to dig into it and have a conversation with somebody else about it, I learn more about that project. I see some of the pitfalls. I see some of the strengths. I see how I might have to pivot somewhere. And that other person is a good person to help you balance out. So finding somebody to work with, I think, is a very important step. But I also understand that it's not possible for everybody to have somebody to work with. So it's not a requirement to be able to use Innovation You Can Do. So the first page is a table of contents, and it kind of gives you an idea, a little bit of background about it. I just wanted to produce something that would be helpful take it and then go use it, fill it out, have something. You can do some introspection, you can have some reflection time, and build something that works for you in your own time frame. This page is really the page that I think is the most powerful. It is the spot where all of my projects start. And I call it an idea investigation. So you have something rolling around in your head. I want to try, or I'm having this problem, or I need this. And you stop for 5-10 minutes and you fill out these questions. If you've done any kind of work with problem solving, a lot of these should feel very familiar. Basically, it's a point where I say stop and let's really go through. I've done this with a few teachers, and probably the highest compliment that I got was when I handed this to a first grade teacher. I could see in her face, she was like, oh, okay, I thought we were gonna try something. And then we agreed to meet back. And when I met back with her, she put it down and she said, Sarah, I just have to say, this was incredible. She said, this alone allowed me to walk through the process, walk through my problem, and really think about, what do I really want? She said, this was incredibly helpful. That made me feel so good, because I feel like this structure right here is really the foundation. Now, I've even just stopped at this point after I've done the idea investigation and kind of went, okay, like I know what I need to do. Or I've used this and I've talked to my collaborator, my support person, and we know where we need to go with it. But sometimes your idea, your process is going to take a little bit more. So I've also created a project timeline page to where filling this out, nothing that has to be real super hard and tight, but it's a possibility. A lot of times, I want to have this created by March because we have to do, or I want this created by next school year because of this reason. So this timeline kind of helps you lay it out so you can kind of hit some points along the way. The next page is a meeting notes page. And anytime you're talking about working with another person, keeping track of things is going to be very important. A lot of the teachers that I've been working with through this process, they do like to have it written out. A simple notebook could work, but this page kind of gives you the idea that you have a purpose to your meeting, you have a date established to do this, and then take some notes here, and then that way you can always reflect back and see what it is that you've talked about. And then down at the bottom, when you're wrapping up, you've got to set a date for the next meeting. This is what you're going to do in the meantime, and this is what the other person is going to do in the meantime. And then at the very bottom, probably one of the most crucial pieces is when you part ways after that meeting, have a little bit of reflection time. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever, just like, wow, I hadn't thought about it that way. Like, so-and-so really pointed that out. But it's that time to kind of like let your brain process it and bring it back and hold it there, so that the next time you come back and you meet, you've got that as well. Obviously, this page could be duplicated. It could be printed numerous times, depending on how many times you're going to meet with the other person. And then this last one is the launch reflection. So every project should have some sort of like, we're ready to do it, ready to put it out there. But most of our projects are not going to just be a one and done and I've got it out there. You're probably going to have to do some reiteration on it, maybe keep it up to date, maybe adjust it because you've got a new group of students, or it's a new school year, or you've switched grades and you need to use it with a different grade level. So the reflection is a great place for you to, again, stop. I've put it out there. People have either used it or they've not, or they've given you this feedback, and how do you want to change it? Do you change it? Is this a one and done? And you just wipe your hands and you move on with your life. But this is a great place to kind of just bring everything back and kind of put it to an end. And then finally, the last piece is truly inspired by my curriculum director, who throughout the handful of years that I have known her, one of the last things she always says to us is, What's next? We've done A, B, and C. Now what? Where do we go with this? Okay, we've tackled this. What's next? And maybe what's next is I take a 2-month vacation because it's summertime. Maybe what's next is, oh, I was inspired to come up with these 3 other plans. Or maybe what's next is I want to share this with my friend who lives in a different city. But that future planning, that thinking about, and maybe it takes you from this project to another project. It really is just, what can you do now? And innovation, again, doesn't have to be that you've come up with a cure for something. Innovation simply could be that you solved a problem for yourself, for a student, a fellow teacher, whatever you need. And we as teachers carry so much of that on our shoulders on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of times we just don't know how to take that next step. And that is truly where I hope my project, Innovation You Can Do, comes in and gives you a spot. Maybe it's not something you can work on today or this week, but maybe it's something you could tackle in a month. But you have that idea now, and you have these questions, and you don't know who to talk to, but you can capture all of it. And then when you're ready, here's your framework, here's your structure, and then you can move forward with it. So I hope that if you're interested, and you do take advantage of this, I would love to know how things work out. Like I said, this is meant to be it could be working for a very long and in-depth project, or you take this one, print it out, and you use it for a very short-term one-off. Don't be afraid. Use it to how it fits you, your project, your idea. Use it to how it works best for you. Because innovation is something that you can do.
Hello, my name is Frederick Ballou, and I'm a Google for Education certified innovator. Let's go all the way back to the beginning and see where it all started. Greetings, Google Innovator Academy. My name is Frederick Ballou, and I'm a music specialist that has been teaching beginner band in Bloomington, Minnesota since 1998. What do Joseph Bologna Chevalier de Saint-Georges, Florence B. Price, and Gabriela Mistral have in common? They're important composers and authors that are not nearly as well known as they should be, despite their important contributions to music and literature. Joseph Bologna was a contemporary of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Florence B. Price was a contemporary of Igor Stravinsky, and Gabriela Mistral was a contemporary of T.S. Eliot. In my school district, only 48.8% of students are white, and in one elementary school that percentage is less than 20. With just over 48% of our population identifying as female, representation matters. What Google Arts and Culture has done for visual artists is amazing. I want to create something that makes finding music and literature that represents our diverse classrooms easier for our educators. I hope the answer to this challenging question can be found with the help of like-minded inclusive educators at the Google Innovator Academy. Thank you. I then was accepted and went to the Academy. It happened in New York. It was labeled NYC 19. That's a thing we're supposed to chant. And we did. We chanted it a whole bunch, and I learned all about the design process and design thinking. From there, I needed to find out what other educators were doing and using in order to properly represent the cultures that are represented in their classroom, because representation matters. So I used a Google form. The Google form I chose to use, I tried to make as simple as possible, where I asked the experts to tell me what they were using to represent the classrooms, the cultures of their classrooms, by just providing the site that they're using, tell me if it's for literature, music, or both, and then give a brief description of how it represents a culture, specifically the race, ethnicity, language, religion, socioeconomic status, LGBTQ plus, or gender identity, how this resource helped represent the cultures in their classroom. And then if they wanted to be credited, they could give their answer there. I thought that this was a pretty straightforward form and pretty easy to fill out, and it was. And then COVID happened. it became pretty clear at this point that most educators already had too much on their plate. So some of the resources I'd received from other educators, but a lot of the resources I ended up sourcing myself. Luckily, just before everything shut down, I had attended a music educators conference in which someone presented pretty much exactly what I was looking for. And I was able to get a ton of music resources from them. And then through the Innovator program, I was able to get in touch with different educators who were able to provide me with some different literature resources. So this was a really wonderful opportunity in order for me to put my website together. And here's the website, titled Cultural Representation in Music and Literature. The landing page kind of explains the why. And then, as you navigate around the site, you can find resources for music. At this point, you'll see right here where I sourced most of my information is from an MMEA session in 2020 presented by Brian Lucasen and Nora Tycast from Spring Lake Park High School in Minnesota, titled Quality Repertoire is Diverse. And it gives the website here from their resources, but I collected them here as resources for music and also added a few that I found on my own. But these are all places that educators have come in order to find music that represents the students in their class. The same thing can be found here, resources for literature. This is a great place where you can find different literature that will help to represent the students that are in your class. I've found that many educators have been coming here in order to represent the students in their class. Here's where I need your help. I can only find so many resources. So if you go to this website right here, there is a tab that says submissions. If you click on that tab, you'll be able to give me some ideas by filling out that Google form I mentioned earlier. Now, some people might say that this is a bit of an excessive URL. I get it, but I wanted it to be what it says and says what it is. So the website, seen here, is a bit excessive. I get it. That's why I've created this bit.ly. If you go to this bit.ly right here, it'll bring you to the same site. But either way, come right to here and you'll be able to find all these resources I've created from the Google Innovator project. And I hope this helps. Have a good one.
Hey everyone, this is Michael Drezik, and I just wanted to share with you my Google Innovator project around educator burnout. Now, the idea behind it is using this as a tool to help beat educator burnout, but this alone won't do the trick. But let's talk about burnout a little bit deeper, and let's look into see what I have here that might be able to help you. So the idea here is that we can uncover it, discover what the issues are, and then recover from it. So just to give you a background, this is who I am. I'm a district tech integrator at Lakeshore CSD. I'm in my 17th year of education. I was a math teacher for 10 years, team leader during that time at our middle school. And now I'm in my 7th year as an instructional coach doing tech integration. So these are some of the things that I'm passionate about. I'm a Google certified educator, innovator, trainer, MIE expert and trainer, Digit Kids author on digital citizenship, part of the Global Maker Day and Global Ed Student Chat teams. So this is a challenge, right? It can happen to anyone, anytime. It looks different to everybody, but I do believe that it is possible that we can stamp out burnout, but we got to stay ahead of it. And that is the challenge. But the reality is that we tend to put others first. We definitely are juggling too much, right? We wear too many hats. We think busy is normal. We sometimes forget our why when we get caught up in the grind of this. And this is hard work. I mean, we're working with growing humans, probably one of the more challenging professions out there. Warning up front, got to be honest, I don't have a solution to this. I apologize, but I have some ideas, and I think I have something that might help. So just to look at the background on this, burnout is an occupational phenomenon. It's classified by the World Health Organization. It's chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. So what causes this stress? Sometimes it is, and most of the time it's external sources, but a lot of this is things that we bring on ourselves in terms of the way that we, I guess, approach things, maybe the way that we misjudge certain things. But again, this work is hard. But what does it feel like? It feels like energy depletion or exhaustion, right? We've all been there. It feels like increased mental distance from one job, feeling of negativity or cynicism. I've been there. Sometimes you're in the faculty room and you just can't escape it. That negativity just keeps on festering, and it's just like a snowball. And also it could look like reduced professional efficacy. So how do we get out of it? So I like to say it's all about relationships. We hear that a lot. It's cliche. But ultimately, it comes down to how might we improve the relationship between ourselves and our work. It's got to be a two-way street as well. So, what can we do about it? And I like to frame it around that context. But I just pulled some tweets here that I want to share with you that kind of highlight the fact that this is a problem. And this tweet right here, right? The teachers aren't okay, people, they aren't okay. Some are, most aren't. How can we help? How can we get out of that? And you got to take an active role. This one really caught my attention. This teacher feels like she doesn't really want to be the perpetual giving, tree bending and breaking and sacrificing. So that she doesn't have to feel guilty of not doing enough. And at the end, if that is the case, that she'll turn into a stump, and she doesn't want to be a stump, right? So how can we be that giving tree that our students need, that our colleagues need, without turning into a stump? And I guess the message here is that you're not alone. That's why this project was probably accepted into the Google Innovator Academy. Is it's a need, it's a problem. Anyone feeling defeated, depressed? It can't just be me, right? Like kind of just throwing this out into the open, realizing, or almost like a cry for, hey, this isn't just me, right? And no, it's not just you. So here's a teacher that is just thinking about getting out. That just doesn't want to go at it anymore. Year 5, right? That seems to be the magic number of when people maybe get out and look for something else. But how do we maintain and how do we thrive, I guess, in this environment, in this challenging environment? And I like this one. This one I really like. Normalize burnout being a workplace injury rather than a personal pathology. It doesn't define us. We can all be burnt out. We can go through phases, just like any other injury. You got to bounce back from it. You got to heal it. You have to treat it. You can't just necessarily run away with it, run away from it. And some do. I don't believe that's the answer for everyone. This feeling of, our identity being tied so much to our jobs, how do we change that? And also the societal aspect of it is, who am I if I don't produce? Now, as educators, what does that look like? What does production look like? And we're growing humans, again, back to it being a team sport and it's hard work. And this is something that I struggle with, right? Is I'm doing too much. I know self-care, right? I've got to take my foot off the gas pedal. And then when I do that, it's that feeling of I'm not doing enough. So how do we find that balance and find our grooves? So why this project? Why burnout? Let's get into, they say start with the why. Let's do that a little bit right now. I think that we can create our way through burnout. And how do we do that? So the key word here being create. We need to create self-awareness. I mean, there's no other way around it. You got to be aware. For me, when I burned out hard, it snuck up on me. I didn't see it coming. The blinders were on. So I came up with this questionnaire, this survey, a self-assessment tool that you can use to ask yourself some questions and give an honest assessment. And it'll give you back some feedback in terms of where you are at, kind of like the traffic light, red, yellow, green. Where are you at? So think about this in the last 2 weeks. How often have you had trouble focusing on one task at a time and carrying it through? Had little interest in planning and teaching or learning new things, or the opposite is extreme interest in taking on too many tasks related to education. Feeling as though you are stuck or not making progress. Not feeling motivated or looking forward to work-related tasks, feeling tired, exhausted, or having little energy or emotionally drained, not eating or taking a dedicated lunch break, feeling like you are not good enough, feeling like you just want to do your job and be left alone, trouble being able to take your mind off of school, thoughts that you would be better off in a different job or career field, feeling overwhelmed with how much you need to do, feeling as though you don't have the resources to do your job well, feeling as though you're not supported by leadership or others in your school community, feeling lack of autonomy in your role in education, feeling like you are not doing enough. So if I were to go back, I know I went through those really fast. You could probably have a breakout session and just find someone to chat with around each of those questions, just talk about it and kind of just have a vent session or share what's going well or what's not. But by answering these questions and rating them kind of on a 0 through 3 scale, you'll be able to kind of get some results and see where you're at. Green means all good. Keep doing what you're doing. Yellow means, okay, this could go either way. You're probably trending towards burnout. Red means, we've got some issues and we need to get proactive immediately. And in this case, I guess it'd be reactive because we've already gotten there. So the idea is that we'd stay in a proactive state. So another thing is that you need to create or find community. I've done that and it's definitely helped me, but there's power in the people. So you can't do this alone. Growing humans is a team sport. Said it once before. Find your community. This is another important one. It's this balance of holding on, letting go, and knowing when to do which of the two. So just know that you're not alone on this. That one really sticks with me. So what communities help you? I want you to think about that. Maybe it's the people down the hallway. Maybe it's the people in your school. But maybe it's your PLN outside of your own school. Also important is there's a lot of noise out there. How can you create a noise-free zone? There's tools that can help, and I'm going to share some of those resources. Create time and space for you. This is huge. We're givers. We are always, we're in the service industry. We sometimes get removed from that, but how are you taking care of you? So I have a Wakelet where I've curated a bunch of ideas from other people. I've curated tweets, websites, podcasts, everything. And I invite you to contribute to this space as well. There's a spot to do that on the website. If you're curious to see what others have said, or you want to add a Post-it note or an idea, you can go to bit.ly/jamoutburnout. And here's an Earth project where you can basically give some advice or take some advice for others. I just trying something creative here. And, what can you say no to tomorrow that might help take something off your plate? So I've created this burnout index. I'm going to go to the website and show you how it works. There's also resources and more here, including the Wakelet the Earth project and such. One of my must follows is Mandy Freilich. If you're on Twitter, please follow her. She is kind of my go-to when it comes to all things burnout, mental health. She's got some books. She's got workbooks. She's just phenomenal. So please go there. She has this Embers, I guess, idea here between the letters of Embers and the chapters, and how she breaks these down into how we need to get better with tracking our emotions, with mindfulness, with boundary setting, with an evaluation of what's in our control, with really actively working to rewire our brain. And then, kind of how we talked about creating a space for you or creating time for you, a self-care plan. So that one definitely resonates with me. And then she'll get into a little bit further there. I'm not going to go through those, but on my site, there are podcasts, there are books, there are special offers, and there are organizations that can help with all of this. So just know that we got this. I hope we got this, but it's going to take some work. So let's go ahead and just take a look real quick at this website. And this is the Educator Burnout Index. And when you click this start key, what that's going to do is it's going to bring you over to the self-assessment. Now, on the self-assessment is just simply a Google form. That when you take it and when we answer those questions that I talked through, it will give you your results in that red, yellow, green light and let you know where you're at. So just go ahead and answer those questions and take it from in the past 2 weeks. How are we feeling like you are not good enough, from not at all to nearly every day, and let that work its magic. So another thing on the resources, I'm proud of probably of this page the most, in addition to the self-assessment tool that can help you stay ahead of it. When you look at these resources, and they're kind of chunked down into, like I said, podcasts, books, offers, and organizations, once this loads here, we're going to see exactly how you can go to all of these. I've curated, for me, listening to others, this is helpful. I just need to hear others' perspective. That is huge for me. And there's all of these either podcast episodes or podcast series around this concept and topic. This was huge for me. Check out the books. I know we've talked about the books from Mandy Freilich, but there's also a book here from Rob Dunlop. There's a book from Amber Harper. I'm liking some of these. And then there's this Onward book that from Elena Aguilar that is helpful. So those are some of the go-tos. In addition to that, check out these communities. There's, these are places to find other people, like-minded educators that you can connect with. I like all of those spaces. Check out the offers. There's Headspace for Educators, which is helpful to create that noise-free zone. It's free for teachers. You just got to verify that you are one. And that's something that will just help. I know meditation is hard, but that mindfulness practice really does have research proven benefits to improving our wellness. On that Wakelet, sometimes again, just helpful to see what others are saying. This is just a curated collection of tweets and blogs, and anytime I find something, I just add it here. There's over 200 items, all curated specifically around educator burnout. 220 items. So I just encourage you to maybe just go down that rabbit hole, click, read, see what's on there. And then the Earth Project is just a fun little space for, like I said, taking some advice from Earth or leaving some advice on Earth. You can go ahead and just put a pin on your map in your hometown, leave somebody a piece of advice that you might have for them that might help them if they're struggling on this journey. And then just see what other people have to say. So that is my Innovator project right now. It's in a constant state of development. It's always growing. I'd love any feedback. But I wish you the best on your journey, and hope that burnout doesn't find you. But if it does, know that you can get through it. It is possible to discover that it can happen, but also recover from it. So cheers, everyone, and thanks for tuning in.
Hey everyone, my name is Stephanie Howe, and I am so excited to share with you helping that kid be successful. This was my Innovator project. I was part of the Google Innovator cohort Sydney 19, so shout out to Sydney 19, and I had a blast using this to help students really be successful. So the point of my project was really focused in on this student, and her name was Bella. Do you have a student like Bella? So Bella, she had dyslexia and she really struggled in school. I was a special education teacher and I was helping students with disabilities in an inclusion type of setting. And Bella really struggled with the recall type of questions that I would ask her. She was a strong drawer, and I wanted to use her strengths of problem solving and being a good drawer to empower her learning. And so right here is my Google Innovator project, and every single month I focused on a different activity. So let's go ahead and let's review like August. So August we focused on relationships because I knew if I didn't have a relationship with Bella, she would not feel comfortable or safe to learn with me by her side. And so with August, we have right here DOK level 1, and then we have DOK level 2, and then we also had DOK level 3. And 4 activities. And so level 1 is that basic recall. It's just a Google form. And Bella would struggle with it because she struggled with spelling. And so for her to be able to fill out a Google form might have not given me the real version of Bella, because she would have kept it short, sweet, words that she knew how to spell or words that she could try to get out on her own. Next is a would you rather. Students would come in every single day. There's a would you rather question on the board, and they just move their magnet or their name to whatever side they want to be. Timeline. Students would create a timeline of kind of what happened in their life and show me a snap version of what is going on in their own life. And then lastly, the morning meetings. This is where I saw the biggest transformation with my students. When we had morning meetings, we were able to talk, play game shows, and this teacher right here, Kevin Butler, he does it the best that I've ever seen. He posts on Instagram his like morning meetings, and they are just so much fun and engaging for the students. And then every single month has additional resources and ideas on how to use these different DOK levels to up your game with these students that do have a lot of strengths, but we're limiting at this recall level because it is hard for their working memory to kind of perform some of those tasks. And again, September, we covered vocab, exit tickets, and all of these other activities. So make sure you check out helping that kid be successful, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any other questions. I would be more than happy to help in any way that I can. So my blog is Miss How 24.
Hi, I'm SJ. I'm a Google Innovator, Google Coach, and Google Trainer. As part of my Innovator project, I wanted to solve the problem of students connecting with each other and with their teachers whilst we were in this online video call world. And it seems that these skills that we're developing are here to stay for some time too. So I created an ebook using Book Creator of 30 plus party games, fun games that you can play with students, but each of them develops their communication, their critical thinking, and their creativity skills all through play, appropriate for any age. I've played these with kindergarten age children all the way up to adults, and everyone has had the same amount of fun. So it's all housed under bit.ly/how to part E. And when you get into there, you're taken to Book Creator. And in here, you'll find all my games. I have a blog post as well where you can read more about some of the thoughts behind the games. And there's some top tips. So if you were hosting it as a party, there's some top tips to get you started. If we take a look then at Rainbow Words, it's a physical activity. Students go around the house like a scavenger hunt, treasure hunt, but they want to try and make a rainbow of all the colours as a team. So they need to communicate with each other. They need to be really creative with what they're choosing. And you can make it difficult by saying you can't have such and all those types of things, and differentiate for your student. Another really great one are the musical games, and they're listed here. So join the band. Give them a song and ask them to play it on a homemade instrument. Get that creativity flowing, communicating with each other. How are they going to best approach this task? A really fun one to play is Tallest Team. They've got to work out their heights and put them in order, or guess a famous building that's closest to their height. Extend it outside the classroom, bring in global factors into their learning. Never Ending Story is a really popular game. So you split them into two teams, and team A is going to say a sentence, then team B is going to say a sentence. So they have to communicate as a team, creatively come up with a story that they want to follow, and then critically think about how could they tactically leave it either easy or hard for the other team to respond. So one team goes once upon a time, the next team goes everybody went and had a picnic. And then you can never know where the story's going to go from there. So it's a really great game to play together. So I just wanted students to connect with each other, to have fun and to play games. And I've just put loads of ideas on here. And this book is constantly evolving and there's more things being added all the time. And you can see there's more updates coming on. So if you have something to share, a game that you've played that's not in here, please reach out to me on Twitter. Please send those ideas in and we can add those in as well. And we are all better together. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Reed, and I am a Google Innovator, and I'm from the cohort, New York City cohort from 2019. I think it was actually one of the last ones in person. And if you ever get an opportunity to do anything with Google Innovator, I suggest highly to do it. So I'm going to just quickly walk you through my project. It's actually not that hardcore. It's not a website, it is more of a book, but we will talk real quick through it. All right, so this is my lovely face, but my book is called The Collaborative Prenup. And so when you are a Google Innovator, you come up with a how might we statement. And so my how might we statement was how might we be able to effectively have co-teachers collaborate and plan in the general education classroom. More or less, because a lot of times, co-teaching or collaboration is like a marriage. It's sometimes you're very happy to be in it, and sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're thrilled. Sometimes you just want to bang your head against the wall. Sometimes you're just like, please, Jesus, be April or be May, whenever your school may end. But the purpose of the collaborative prenup is instead of you getting a divorce or possibly fighting in front of your kids, you end up with a prenup. And we'll get to that in just a second. But the main idea behind it is, imagine walking in your classroom the first day of free planning and your approached by your principal who says, hey, you're going to be doing co-teaching this year. And I guarantee that will happen to you. If it hasn't happened yet, it will at some point in your teaching career, because that's just inclusion. That's a mix of general ed students and special education students. All right, so what is co-teaching? Well, co-teaching, and I'll talk about this in the book, is it's a model of teaching that involves two teachers, like one content and one special education teacher, to work together. A general education classroom that contains both general and special education students. A lot of times, like I said, the co-teaching is similar to a marriage that may or may not be wanted by both parties. So, where does that come up with a collaborative prenup? Well, the school year, it may be a fantastic relationship at the beginning of the school year, and then it could be a complete disaster by the time you get to December. Either teacher may file for divorce, or you may have a tense-filled classroom that is not enjoyable for anyone. All right, so how do we present this? This is actually my project. This is called the Collaborative Prenup. This is everything that will be spelled out to a T for everything classroom, and one document covers everything. So the book is basically just talks about my experiences as an educator, because I've had general and special education experiences. Also talks about the different types of co-teaching, referencing a lot of Marilyn Friend and Cook. Friend and Cook, if you did not know, are like the gurus of collaboration in the classroom. You also have, I talk about just different rapports, and I talk about the different styles of co-teaching and any way to use collaboration. And then I go into really depth of the collaborative prenup. And the idea behind it is that a lot of times we see Hollywood couples, they have a prenup, or kind of breaks down, if you do this, this is what I get, or here's my assets. Well, it's kind of the same concept for the prenup, except you guys are going to break down every single thing that happens in the classroom. And that is to make sure that your life is much easier. It does take a lot of work at first, but then once you're in the classroom and the expectations are set, then you know. And that could be something as simple as like who responds to a parent, who responds to an email, or how do the kids go to the bathroom. You may not think that would be a big issue, but it can be, especially when you have the kids pairing against each other. So I talk a lot about that, and I break down that into different sections. And then the end page is actually going to be talking about how you can do collaboration. Oh, here we go. A little more in depth. Just the standard documents can be customized. It is assigned by the teacher and the admin at the beginning of the year. And it makes the classroom a lot better just for everyone, and having those expectations and planning ahead. All right, I just like this quote. I believe the best skills I can give my students is the ability to teach and to find the answers to the questions on their own. That's our purpose as teachers, and hopefully through the collaborative prenup, that's what you will understand. Now, also in the book, I'm going to talk a little bit about how to use Google and other applications to collaborate. Firstly, because who knows what kind of world we'll be in this time next year, or a pandemic. But so that is it. I have signed a contract with EduMatch. I signed it last summer. So hopefully my first draft has been submitted. So hopefully it will be out sometime next year. But that's it. So hopefully you check it out. And if you need me or would like to get in touch with me and talk more about special ed or collaboration, my Twitter is @KentuckyGirlInAlabama. Thanks so much, guys.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy Myers, and I am so excited to be here to share my Google Innovator project with you relating to preventing teacher burnout. First off, big shout out to Tyler, the most ballerist, the biggest baller, the baller teacher. No, it's most ballers. To the most ballerist teacher that I know. And if you don't understand that joke, buy his book. It'll make a lot more sense. Well, anyways, you know what? Let's just get into it. Now, because I value your time, if you just want to skip the backstory and get into the actual product, then you can skip to this point in the video, and it'll take you right there. I mean, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying you're going to miss out on this Pixar-esque story and journey that I have prepared for you. So a few years ago, I had that class, and you know the class that I'm talking about. The one where you're counting down the end till the end of the school year, and it's only mid-September. The one where you give 100% every day, except you feel like you get nothing back, and you are just burned out at the end of the day. And when you get home, you just have no energy to do anything except Netflix or whatever you do. And this self-care that I've been hearing about in my district emails and around the interwebs just never seemed to magically materialize. But then one day I realized something. I realized that I couldn't wait until after school to start my self-care practices. I needed to find ways to infuse self-care during my school day. It was the only way I was going to get through the day, let alone the school year. So how do we prevent teacher burnout? Well, we have to be intentional about infusing self-care practices into our daily routines and habits. And if we realistically want to do that, then we need to address and answer these 3 questions. So 1, what does everyone already have or use at school? 2, what has low to no cost? And 3, what exists and can be upgraded? Can you think of anything? I'll give you a hint. It's something that's probably within 5 to 10 feet of you right now if you're in your classroom. It's something that predates the one-room schoolhouse probably. Did you give up? It's your planner. The standard plan book hasn't changed since Morgan P. Planbook created it and said, nah, it's okay. Someone will change it eventually. And that was 180 years ago. Okay, my facts might be a little sketchy on that. You know, you can Google it. So let's be honest, your plan book sucks. It's just a bunch of white sheets of paper with squares on it that happen to have some numbers and days of the week in it. And that costs you $20. This thing's in desperate need of an upgrade. So guess what? Big plan book, your days are numbered. Your con's over. We got something new. So this is what I'm proposing to you. First, let's make your planner free. Yes, that's right. Absolutely free. And we can do that by a few ways. We can have it in Google Slides, or we can put it in an Adobe PDF. That way you can get your planner experience in the way that best suits you properly. The current one we're looking at is in Google Slides, but this could easily be used as a PDF to put into your favorite annotation tool, Notability, into the Apple Suite products, or anything else that you use. Now, the reason why I've chosen a planner is because it hits all 3 of those critical questions that I addressed earlier. What does everyone already have? What's low to no cost? What exists and can be upgraded, all in one shot? Yes, this is a planner, but it is so much more. This is your supercharged planner. This is your planning experience. Now let's take a tour to see how this planner is light years ahead of your physical planner or even your planning website that you've used for the past years. So let's start with the basics. This is an early draft version of it. In a little bit, I'll get to my actual planner from this year, but let's just start here. So of course, it is a traditional planner. If you even only use it for this reason, save your time, save yourself some money, I think it's well worth the free download. You can type in those boxes, organize what you want. It'll do the job. But as I said, this is so much more. If we want to not only survive the week, but thrive during the week, we need something more. We need to build on the success and failures from week to week, think back, look forward, build our practice, be a better teacher. And so that's where this is different. So if you look in the top, you're going to see that each week is going to have a theme that's going to drive the content and the features of the planner. The first place that you're going to see this is right here. And then this is going to be the classroom connection section. Whether it's an informational website, an energizing activity, or a new tool that both you and your class can benefit from, you'll find a new website every week. As stated, each week there will be a specific theme or focus. In addition to the Classroom Connect piece, you'll have a quote and a video to focus on throughout the week. Most videos are about 5 minutes in length. Each video is listed as a link as well if you're going old school, pen and paper. So all you have to do is open up a browser and type that in. But in the digital version and in most PDF versions, you click on the link, it'll take you straight to that video. Below the video will also include a few prompts for you to reflect on throughout the week. They're meant to be short reflection responses that help you think about your daily practice. No, there's no judgment or criticism here. And a little bit later, I'll show you where I'm going to give you some space later in the planner to write down those thoughts. So let's take a look at my plan book from this year. As you can see, I'm zoomed in just a little bit. I always like to be about 100% That allows me ease of typing, and also I can see everything pretty easily. But you just click in any box there, and you can start typing. You'll also notice, because it's a digital slide, you can write anything you want on the sides. You're not just limited to the typical notes section at the bottom. But I have put some notes down there. On the classroom connection page, we are looking at the theme of creativity. Here, after reading the description, you'll find that we're looking at the Google Arts and Culture page, which has a ton of high resolution images to share with your students to spark thinking around arts and culture from all around the globe from our past. You'll also see that the theme continues on the next page with our quotes. And then we have the incredible TED Talk from Sir Ken Robinson, Do Schools Kill Creativity? And as well, we have our reflection questions about what do you think it really means to be creative? And then how do you think that plays out in your classroom? At the bottom here, you'll see each page is going to have a link to a reflection page about those questions. So if you click on that link, it'll take you straight there. And then you can put your responses to reflect back on. I've tried to make this as seamless as possible. You could go back to the table of contents, or you could go straight back to week 4 to your planning. In addition to your weekly theme, you're also going to have a check-in every 6 weeks. This one happens to be on teacher wellness, again, with a video, some quotes, and some questions for you to consider, just to make sure that you are going a little bit deeper every few weeks to check in on your self-care and your own personal wellness. And to help you with ease of use, I've put a ton of links into this within the document. So you have your table of contents, but let's say you want to go to the deep dive into resilience building. You can click on the blue letters, go to that slide, and then get straight there. But if for whatever reason you need to get back to a different week, there will be a return to table of contents on the left side here, or it's in the bottom left corner of some of the slides. That will get you back to the table of contents and then back to, let's say, week 16. So I have some good news and some bad news. If you want to just dive into this today, unfortunately, I only have a 90-day or half the year planner compiled. Google Slides link is on the left there. The PDF file is on the right. However, some of you might be saying, you know what? I want to be notified of when the 180-day version is available. So if you're interested in getting this for next school year, go ahead and click on that link right there, bit.ly/perfectplanner-early-release, or use that QR code. You'll fill out a form and I'll make sure that I get you the complete 180 plus school day version when it is ready. So thank you for your time. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for standing tall in the middle of all the challenges that are thrown at you every day. And I hope that you're able to get some rest this summer so you're well prepared for next year. If you would like to connect down the line, you can give me a follow at EduTechAndy on Twitter, or you can email me at edutechandy@gmail.com. Have a great day, and I hope you're well.
Hey everyone, my name is Stephanie Howe, and I am an instructional technology coordinator in Pickerington Local School District. So I had this problem. We use iReady, but it doesn't matter what kind of program you use to get students' data. And the problem is we wanted students to begin to track their own progress and create a personalized learning track. And so what students would do is they're going to look over their personalized learning track that iReady gives them. Then they're going to use Khan Academy to direct their learning through different videos and activities that Khan Academy provides. But I had a teacher come to me. How are students going to track their progress? And I don't want this to be something that I have to do over the weekend or at night. I want the students to do it, but in a way that I can quickly look at their data as well. So I took a day and did some thinking and looking through some templates, and I looked at Docappender. So Docappender is an extension that is used, or an add-on used in Google Forms. And so the end product looks something like this, or something like this. So there's 3 different options, and we're going to go through another option during this tutorial. And so here's one option with bullet points, but the teacher didn't want that because she wanted everything to be in a table so the students could quickly see what next steps they needed to do and they could reflect on their work. So here's another example. This is the example she loved. So it's got the table. Students can quickly see their scores and their improvement. So 3 out of 4, 2 out of 4, 4 out of 4. They can see their reflection like, oh, I probably should have asked for help here when I didn't feel as confident as that 2 out of 4. They can see their progress over time, and they're able to use the comment tool to communicate with their teacher about their next steps. They can even share this with their parents and do student-led conferences. This was a game changer for our classrooms when we were trying to personalize their learning. And so back to here, let's go through some of these steps to get to our end product of this Google form. I want you to begin to think about, how might you collect data in your classroom? Don't you want it to be fast and engaging for your students? If so, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to make a copy of this Google document. Feel free to go to Canva and use the Google Classroom headers to change the graphics if you don't like the ones that I've already selected. I'm going to rename this. So I want it just to say You Do You Math. And it's not going to have a student's name or anything. It's just a blank document. The next step is to go back to your Google Class, or go back to the Google site with all of these different links. Here's the directions for Docappender, and there's also a link if you need to add it. We're going to now make the Google form. Students will fill out this Google form once they complete their con lessons or whatever activity you have for them in their personalized pathway. Again, I'm going to change the name and take out copy of. Okay, I'm also going to delete Kurt Householder's name, and I want this to collect emails in my district because I don't want my students to have to type in their email every single time. Plus, if a student has accidentally filled it out for another student, I can quickly see what happened. Feel free to edit any of these different columns. This one does have to be a drop-down though, or I suggest a drop-down. Again, you can change any of these different reflections or examples that you might want your students to do. Once you have your Google form all set up, you're going to open up Google Classroom. Now, if you don't use Google Classroom, your LMS might be able to set this up. However, I'm not for sure because there's so many different LMS. So what you're going to do is you need documents in a Google folder. So what you could do is you could create a Google folder and put a name on that Google folder for the Google Doc for each of your students. So in the folder, all of your students would have their own plain Google document. But Google Classroom does this for us. So if you do use Google Classroom or you have the ability to use it, make sure you do use Google Classroom. You're going to go down to your class, and I'm going to use this fake class that I have. And I'm going to go to classwork. I'm going to create an assignment. And I'm going to call this You Do You. And I'm going to add my Google document. And since it's saved to my drive, I'm going to click Drive. And again, this makes conferencing with kids so much easier because I just have to pull up the spreadsheet and look to see what the students are doing. So I want you to begin thinking, how could you use this tracking sheet to help your students? How can you conference with students to look over their data in a quick way? So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make a copy for each student in the class. I want this to be ungraded. And if you wanted to add it to a topic, you could. I'm going to go ahead and assign it. What is amazing about Google Classroom and when it assigns different things is that you get a folder that's created for you. So right here is my You Do You. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to view the assignment. I'm going to click this little folder, okay? All of your students, I only have one student in this class, but all of your students will pop up in this class, okay? Once you have that, you're going to go back to the Google form. You're going to click right on add-ons after you've added it. So again, if you don't have Doc Appender, you're going to go to the Google site and click this and add it. Right there's the link. I'm going to open in the sidebar, and I'm going to move my video over so that you guys can see this magic happen, because it's mind-blowing how long this takes. I think it took me like 8 minutes to do one class, which will last the rest of the year. I can spend 8 minutes setting this up if it's going to work the rest of the year. I hope you can too. So I'm going to pick from my drive. And now that my drive is pulling up, I'm going to grab that folder where it's You Do You. Okay. Now that I have that folder, I'm going to click Next. I'm going to refresh the list, and the name question will pop up. Now that I have that, I'm going to save and populate this selection of question. It's going to pull Kurt Householder's name up here. And Kurt Householder is an amazing coach in the Pickerington Local School District, so shout out to Kurt. Next, this is where you get to decide what you want your end result to look like. So I'm going to collect the timestamp. I don't really need the name because the name's going to be at the top of my Google document. I want the iReady domain, con, name of the con assessment, the score, and the reflection. So again, you're picking what do you want to go in this table or the bullet points list or the other table, okay? Since you saw the bulleted list, I'm going to now show you the vertical table, okay? And also that last one that I showed you, the rows in a single horizontal table, is the one where it is in the table. The bulleted list was the first example. So let's go back real quick. Bulleted list is this one. The table, one table is this one. I'm going to show you the third option though. Enable. And it's going to do its amazing magic. And I'm going to go here and I am going to fill out Kurt's response for him. The students will pick a drop down and they're going to pick their name. Then they're going to pick their iReady domain, their con grade level or course, the name of the lesson. They're going to write their score. I'm going to say Kurt got a 3 out of 4. And their reflection. Again, you could add whatever questions you want to go on their reflection Google document, the You Do You. Submit. And then I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this. I'm going to refresh this class. Now when I click Kurt's name, his document should have some data. And again, this might take a couple minutes for it to flow over to Kurt's document. Oh, it's right there. I can see everything laid out. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to do another example just so you can see what students would do if they had multiple different examples. So I'm clicking. This time he got 2 out of 4, we'll say, and he feels confident. Back to the Google Classroom assignment, give it a minute, and there it is. So this is the third option, okay? So you've got bullets, the table, or you've got this awesome table right here that kind of splits them up. Again, it depends on what your purpose is for this lesson. Also, in Google Classroom, if you want the students to be able to edit, like this document right here would be awesome for students to go in here, go right here, and then they can type a reflection. Okay, I'm the teacher right now, so that's why it's green. But then they could type a reflection and say, okay, I went back. My next steps are setting some type of goal settings. I really help them drive their instruction. They could do that. But for this example, I'm going to leave it blank. But again, your students could with Google Classroom. If you don't want them to edit, but you only want them to comment, you can either teach them that or have them turn it in. So if they turn it in, they can't comment or edit the document. They can only view it. So now that we have all of that filled out, and again, it takes about 8 minutes a class. So it's not super long prep, and this will work all year long unless you needed to change something, which you could do quickly on the Google form. The next step then is to conference with students. So So there's two different ways that I could conference with students. I'm first going to go to my Drive. I'm going to go back to the Google form that I created because I don't want to pull up every single student's UMath. It just is going to take a lot of time for me to review all of their responses. So right here, I can click responses and I can grab this Google Sheet. Once I have the Google Sheet, I can filter the responses to see the student's name, so that way they're all in order. I can even set up conditional formatting so that if I wanted to see where it says I need a little more practice with this skill, I can go into Format, Conditional Formatting, and I can set that up so it pops at me when it comes on. I can also set up notifications if I wanted to know when a student filled this up, so I could have a quick look at the data, then conference with them right away. So that way they don't need to wait for me to call on them. So I want this to be text contains, then I'm gonna paste that in because I like to do exact. And I want it to be like an orange color. Maybe, not blue, orange. There we go. Done. Okay, so I can see right here that this student might need help and it changed orange. Okay, so then I could set up another conditional formatting for where the student feels comfortable with the lesson. And I want that to be this green color that's a little bit prettier. Okay, so I can quickly see how many times Kurt does not feel comfortable with the topic, and I'm able to pull them up. I could do the same thing with the lesson score if I know that it's always out of a certain fraction. Okay, so very, again, quick and easy. Right here, I can create filters so that I can, let me go up to this row. I'm gonna click the filter. I can quickly filter by all the students' names. I can just look at Kurt's data or another student's data. I can also, if I have a co-teacher and I'm filtering, but they're also filtering, I could set up a splitter. So if I go to data, slicer, sorry, not splitter, slicer, I can search by name, and I can have Kurt's name up, and my co-teacher could have my name up, and they could be looking at two different data sets, pulling students and conferencing them with them really quick. This is huge in the classroom. Again, I said you could get an email notification. So if you wanted to get an email notification, you could go, there's two ways. You could set up Autocrat, which I believe there's some other videos in this academy, or you can just set up, if you go to Tools, Notification Rules, I can do any changes made, send me an email daily or right away. If I'm conferencing with students, I might want that email right away so I can go, oh, you're done with that lesson, let's conference, because I want that immediate feedback. How did it go? Let's look at what you missed and let's quickly do a reteach session. I like my students to work on different pathways and different things so that they could be successful in the classroom. Again, think about what problem do I have in the classroom that I need my students to begin tracking and taking ownership on. Once you know that, you can begin to use this resource on that website, and you can make copies of all of these things, and it will just take you 8 minutes to set up for one class period. Again, if you need any help or need anything, please reach out to me, and I would be more than happy to be an assistance to you.
What up? Welcome back. Hey, Tyler here. How are you doing? How are you feeling? In the chat, let's do emoji check. And how are you feeling right now? Have you learned? Oh, no. To this point, what is something that you are going to try in your classroom or implement that you might not have wanted to, an hour or two ago? What is something you're wanting to implement in your classroom? Put that in the chat right now. I'd love to see it. I know the other people in the chat would love to see it. I know it'd be some great input. So throw that in the chat and then you can also copy paste and put in your notes just so you don't forget. Make sure everything you're doing, you're keeping notes of. Keep links to it, all of it, because I want you guys to be able to access and actually make your classroom better. I've sat through enough PDs in my life, professional development in my life, that I don't remember one thing from. I pray that you walk through this. I am hoping that you get something out of this training that you can take and use, once a day, once a week, once a year, once a decade, something that you use and implement, whether it's a mindset or a skill set or just any type of framework to build your classroom and make things better. Okay? Speaking of making things better, making ourselves better, I do want to give you, some thoughts on something that I offer, a community that we have at Tarver Academy that I think could add you a ton of value. It could help you get better all year. Because right now we're getting better with PD, with professional development. Hopefully you're getting better right now. This summer you're gonna hopefully glean some information, some knowledge, some experience, and you're gonna get a little bit better. I want us to get better all year. I want us to get better all throughout the year. And here's the thing with teachers. We do not have time to go sit through a 6-hour professional development once a week. So what I did was I created a community called Tarver Academy. And it was based on teachers telling me they wanted resources. They wanted a continuation of these trainings, of templates, of resources. They want it to be handed to them, because if you go out and search for it, you're gonna find random stuff. They want stuff that could be applied to their classroom, that they can sit there, bite-sized professional development for busy teachers. That's Tarver Academy on a roll. And I would love for you to join if you want to. If you don't have to, don't pay for it. It's not very expensive at all, but I don't want you to have to pay for it. I would rather you use your district's professional development money. So if you want, have them go in, order that for you. What happens if you sign up for the Tarver Academy on a roll? What it's gonna do is it's gonna add you value. Do you wanna get better as a teacher every week, but not have to go out and search for it? How about if we just hand it to you in an email? In the email, every week, you're gonna get either a template, a resource, you're gonna get a short PD video, professional development, a training to show you how to do something you might not know how to do, or reinforce something you're maybe already trying. You're gonna get something that makes you better every week, plus some quick tips, links to some other things, and also you can ask me questions. I have a mailbag where you get to ask questions, and that's the list I'm gonna pick from first. I wanna help you guys. If I don't know how to do it, I'll do the research for you. I'll build, you're like, oh, I really wish I had a digital interactive notebook. Guess what I'll do? I'll go in and I'll build digital interactive notebooks, and I'll give you the template. You don't have to pay teachers. You don't have to go in and throw the money at anything. I wanna just hand it to you, and I wanna do trainings for you to help you. So if you wanna join that community, I think it's super helpful, and it's essentially where I become the tech facilitator for you. It's Netflix for teacher resources, and I would love for you to join and jump on that. So if you want, go there. It's tarveracademy.com/on-a-roll, and you can sign up for that. And I think it's just going to be a huge. It's going to be a huge help to teachers throughout the year who have a lot going on and not a lot of time, extra time to go out and do it. It's like as teachers, they always give you more stuff to do, but they don't give you like, oh, here's like an extra 3 hours a day to go out and do whatever it is you're going to do. So if you want to sign up for that, you can. I hope you've used this time also to use the restroom. So if you're just getting back using the restroom, guess what? We've just been talking about Tarver Academy on a roll. No big deal. But I want to give you guys time to go do that and get a snack if you need it. Whatever you need to do, we're about to kick back into it. We're about to jump back in it. We're going to fall back into the gap, fall into the gap. Man, do y'all remember that? That was a good campaign. That was memorable. Wasn't it? Memorable? Yeah, sure. Okay, so we're about to get started. We'll get started here very soon, and we're gonna jump back in. We're gonna keep learning. All right, let's do it. Let's go. We're still doing this. In the chat, here we go. In the chat, I want you to tell me the name. Okay, don't say that. I was gonna say, tell me the name of, you know what? You can do that. Tell me the name of a teacher who made an impact on you and what they did. Why did they have an impact on you? In the chat, what name of a teacher or an educator that had an impact on you and what they did to have an impact. It was either the way they treated you, the way they ran their class, or the way they inspired you, or just the way they had structure maybe. They were reliable, they were consistent. I would love to hear in the chat, name of a teacher that motivated you as a student or as another teacher and what they did. So let's throw that in the chat, and we're about to get started. We're gonna jump back into it. We're about to get started. We're gonna jump back into it like a pogo stick. See that? See what I did there? Nope? Okay, all right, let's get going. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the intro to all of the different Innovator projects that these amazing educators created, proposed, and submitted, and were accepted to the Google Innovator certification program. Now, coming up, I've got 2 more sessions, and I'm going to introduce this first one. This is by Nadine Gilkison. She is one of the all-time Google GOATs. I'm serious. GOAT stands for greatest of all time. She is incredible when it comes to creating resources and adding value to people and educators all across the world. And she has the session she did on an introduction to learning about the Google Innovator program and the Google certifications. I thought this was a great way to tie everything together. So please listen, take notes with what she has. And then right after that, I'm going to come on and I'm just going to show you a resource I have if you're wanting to pass the Google Level 1 Educator exam. So it's remember Level 1 Educator, Level 2 Educator, then there's Trainer, and then there is Innovator. Now, you can't be a trainer or an innovator unless you're a Level 1 and Level 2. So it's an intro. Say you've never passed a Level 1 exam, I'm going to give you a quick look at a resource that can help you pass that exam. So hopefully you do that and you come back. That's my challenge to you. If you are not a Google Level 1 educator and you're joining us today, that's step one. And so my challenge to you is get that resource at the end and go download it and then start getting ready and pass that exam. Here's a fun fact too. A lot of times districts will give you PD credit, professional development credit, hours for going in and taking and passing that exam. And some of them do, I've heard of schools do stipends for it. That's incredible. So I've spoken to schools, I've worked with schools, and they're like, we give a stipend for it. I'm like, that's incredible. You should definitely become a Level 1 and Level 2 educator. So Nadine is about to take over, and she's going to talk for a while about some of the intricacies of the Google programs. Then I'm going to follow up with a resource to help you get started on Level 1. If you already passed Level 1, this is a resource you can hand to some of your fellow educators and help them. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for listening to the roundup of all the people talk about, including myself. Thank you so much for listening to us talk about our projects. Hopefully we inspired you. Hopefully you're getting ideas. If not, start taking notes. Get some ideas of things you can do and propose to become a Google Innovator. And remember, I want to be your mentor someday. So holla at your boy if you get in. Recommend me to be your mentor. I don't get paid for it, but I would love to help you along your journey as an educator and an innovator and someone who is changing the world for the better. Thank you guys so much for joining. And Nadine's taking over, and then I'm going to give you a resource. See you guys in a minute.
So Google for Education actually has a whole learning hub and learning community that is out there. And I wanted to make sure that you guys know that it's there. This is where you can honestly go if you want to see any kind of overview training guides on how to use any type of the Google tools. You're going to notice that it's got all kinds of videos for Classroom, Google Forms, Docs, slides, you name it. They've got everything in there for all of their products. Let's start to talk about certifications. And I have that pulled up on another tab here. And basically what certifications are going to do is it's a way for you to kind of acknowledge your awareness of how you know how to use Google tools, but it can also really help you with adding to your resume and building onto your career. So basically, if you want to become certified, Google has 2 levels to start out with. Level 1 certification, and keep in mind, it does say that they're valid for 3 years. Because products and technology are constantly changing, Google wants to make sure that if you're going to say that you're Google certified as an educator, that you are in the know, you know all the products like the back of your hand. Now, what's nice about this is that for those people that use Google a lot, typically, with my online teachers in K-5 and those people that I know in the district that are pretty tech savvy, I actually tell them that you can probably go ahead and pass Level 1 of the exam without having to, really go through the whole training course and everything. That's one thing I want to tell you up front is that there's different paths, they like to differentiate how their program works. If you want to do a training course, what it has in here, where it has the get started, it actually will walk you through on that Teacher Center modules of each section of what you need to know. The cool part about it is because when you do get started in working on getting certified, it'll tell you to log into your Google account. And what it will do is it will record your progress as you're going along. So let's say you decide to work on it. for a little bit during the week, then you don't come back to it for a week because you got busy, it saves your progress and you can pick up exactly where you left off. And so that's the nice part. A lot of times people ask, well, what in the world are they going to ask me? I'm not that techie at all. And what you need to know is that when it's level 1 certification, it's covering foundations. So basically, do you know how to do basic concepts in docs, in sheets, in slides? There are some Google tools that you might not be as familiar with. Google Sites is Google's platform where you can create your own website. And it's not getting super robust. It's just basics of each one of the Google tools. If you opt to go through the program where you want to do the course, I'm going to come back over here, like where it says the different training courses, it will actually walk you through and take you through step by step. Let's say I open it up and I get started with it and I discover I already know this one. Okay, I'm good on docs. I'm good on sheets. I really need to get down to, I've used Google Meet, but I may have used Zoom a lot. So maybe I need to review over this module. You can skip around. In other words, it's self-designed. It has little quick checks that as you're going through the progress, it'll say, these are the components that you need to know. And then it gives you like a little quiz at the end. But it's not going to penalize you. I think some people think, oh my gosh, I missed that question, and they're going to know that. And then I don't even think I should take this exam. And the answer to that is no, you should. You should go ahead and take the exam. It's a quick check. It's to help you practice and know, hey, how well do I know this product? If I don't know it well enough, I can go back and teach myself again. I have offered for teachers, I can do, trainings with you if you're someone that says, hey, I want to get Google certified, but these are the areas that I'm not as strong in. Can you help train me further on this? And I'm more than happy to help. I do want to share a great resource that is out there. Tyler Tarver was part of my Google Innovator Academy, and Tyler actually took all of the skills that you have to know on the Google certification, everything that came off of that training course, and he combined with Eric Kurtz. Eric Kurtz had a list of what all of the skills were that you needed to know, and he had it in a Google Doc. But what Tyler did was he went in and not only took the list that Eric had, but he created videos to show you how to do each one of the components. Tyler's really great. He not only has this table of contents that you can go to, but basically he's showing you, like, I could literally look at this and know, okay, in Google Drive, I have to know how to create a file, accessing it, how do I organize them. If I know how to do all the things that are listed here, then I may not need to watch his video. But I can also use this as a guide to look through quickly and go, oh, wait, I don't know how to do that. I've never heard of that option. I need to watch that video so that I'm adequately prepared. I am going to throw this document over in the chat really quick. And I'm popping in to take a look at your comments that you guys are having in there too. And I saw that Melanie's in there, and yeah, I would say, level 1 is easy depending upon your tech ability. But I honestly feel like that because of the pandemic, that everybody has been using all of their Google apps and everything so much that I tell a lot of people, just take the exam. I'm telling you, you can take the exam. Now, you may have noticed at the beginning here that it says that it costs money to take the exam. So if you're watching this and you've already taken the exam, you're already level 1 or level 2, and you're really listening to this conversation because you want to know more about the other programs with Google. Before the pandemic, I was telling all the people in our district, give me your information and you can get reimbursed for that. Then the pandemic hit and it's been a little bit of a hot mess. I wanted to let you know that if you're one of those people and you're watching right now, send me that information, and the Franklin Township Education Foundation has their Thankful for You grant right now, and it will be a much easier process to get your reimbursement as fast as possible if you've already done this process, if you fill out the Thankful for You grant. So just email me like after we get off of this session and I can take care of you. If you haven't done it yet, you are thinking about it, I wanted you to know that as part of the digital learning grant that our township received, I have placed an order for Google certification vouchers. And so if you haven't taken the exam yet, hold off for about a week, and then I'm going to send out that if you want to take the exam, here's the process, because I can give you a code so that you are not being charged anything. In other words, we pay for it up front so that way you don't have to go through the reimbursement process. So again, this is really going to help you out a lot. After level 1, then there is level 2, and Eric and Tyler have you covered for level 2 as well. And so I'm going to pop that document into the chat as well. And if you watch this afterwards, I'll make sure that I put this in the YouTube description so everyone can get to these documents as well. But that way you guys can make sure that you feel fully equipped for level 1 and level 2. I don't know, since I know they're using a different testing platform now than when I took it. But I kind of felt like that level 1 was more intense for me and maybe it's because I knew the process of what they were doing. And then when I got to level 2, I was like, oh, I've got this. So I don't want you to be scared that if you're saying, well, I did level 1, but I really don't think I'm level 2. If you pass level 1, I'm telling you, review over this document, and then I guarantee that you can pass level 2. The nice part that Google does is that it's not a one-time only. What they will do is you get 3 chances to pass that. And let's say you don't pass one of the certification exams the first time. I believe they make you wait 2 weeks before you can try to take it again, because they encourage you to go back and watch some of the training modules again, or go out and find the resources for the skill gaps that you have. So again, you might be thinking, I still don't understand why. It's going to make you realize about those hidden gems that are inside of Google that you didn't realize. I know that I use Gmail and Calendar, but when I went through the test and I went through the process of getting ready for it, there were so many things that I was like, wow, I had no idea that you could do this in this tool. So it's really for one aspect of having that. You'll notice that a lot of people add it to their email signature. They'll add it to their resume. If you are wanting to pursue something else, knowing that you have these certifications is definitely an asset. People will look to see if you are Google certified. So that's level 1 and 2. So when we get into those certifications, as I said, they've got the overview on the level 1, level 2. There are other programs that Google has in addition to that. So once you get level 1 and level 2, and someone asked me this yesterday. They were like, hey, if I'm really good at Google, can I skip over level 1 and just take level 2? And the answer is no. You have to become level 1 certified, then you become level 2 certified. Once you become level 2, then you can start to take a look at what some of the other options are. And the next bump up is the certified trainer program. So I wanted to touch on that and what that looks like. And with the certified trainer program, what's nice about it is that the requirement that Google has, and basically it's saying, I know Google tools so well, I could run PDs. Google has an active directory that has a list of all global
all of the Google trainers that are out there, and anyone can reach out to you and ask you to do a training. So a lot of times people will do that, to get, like supplemental income in the summers or something like that. But the nice part, again, if you have in your mind that you're thinking, I might want to do a job that's something similar to what Nadine does, then I tell anyone that has that interest, you need to get these certifications. And the next thing that you need to do is become a certified trainer. You don't have to be in my position to become a certified trainer. You can be a classroom teacher and become a certified trainer. You fill out an application. And when you fill out an application, they'll ask you questions about PDs that you've done. You actually send them a link to like a slide deck or an example of a PD that you've done, and they review it and take a look at it. And then Google determines whether or not if they feel like that you are certified trainer status. I will tell you some of the perks to becoming a certified trainer. First of all, one of the expectations to keep your trainer status is that you have to log that you've done 12 Google trainings a year. Now, of course, I've done a bajillion. It's very easy for me to fill mine out. But it doesn't have to be, hey, principal, I need to get up in front of the staff and offer a training so I can count it as a certified trainer. It can literally be that you have your own YouTube channel, that you have your own social media platforms out there, that you are offering a PD that anyone could join, and you can count that as doing trainings. The more that you are actively doing those pieces, again, if you have in the back of your mind that maybe you want to do a career path that's similar to something that I do in technology, all of those things are indicators that you can add to a resume. The other cool thing about being a certified trainer are partnerships. So you're number one, you get access to a Google group that every time that there are new things coming out with Google, like I know that, teachers hear about new things, updates with Google, but if you're a trainer and also a certified innovator, we actually are part of a Google group where we get notified weeks, sometimes months before the public. And they make you sign, an NDA that we're not going to share what those items are, but having that edge of knowing what's coming can help you be better prepared when it has the official release. The other cool part about that is that Google actually reaches out to the certified trainers and they'll want to get their input. Because typically the Googlers that are making the products, they don't have that education background. So they want to hear from educators. The group that they reach out to first are innovators. And I'll talk more about what those are in just a little bit. But then they reach out to certified trainers. So again, if you want to have that edge, be in the know, having that Google certified trainer status is very handy in that aspect. You also get to build, your PLN. I know I have been able to make connections with people that are Google certified trainers at a global level. And that has really changed what I do, how I network, and everything that goes on with my position. Now, I mentioned perks. The other perks that you get are partnerships that Google trainers get with popular platforms. For instance, I cannot name them all. There's a bajillion of these, and we keep literally almost every day they send an email and say, hey, we got another deal that we have with a partner. So for instance, like Edpuzzle, if you are a certified trainer, you get premium access to Edpuzzle for free. If you are, I'm trying to think of all of them. I think it's WeVideo. There's like a bajillion in here I could start to list off. But basically all the big names, I know Pear Deck is part of it. If you get the trainer status, they will give you the premium access to their product because They want you to do a training on their product, of course. But again, if you're a teacher and you're using all of these tech tools and you're already delivering PD anyway and helping out people, take a look at becoming a certified trainer, because that's definitely a help for you. So one of the newest programs that Google came up with this past year is a certified coach program. And so if I have, even my instructional coaches in the district, this might be something that you might be interested in becoming, because not only being a instructional coach, but if you are a certified coach, it means that you also have that background in technology integration. If you are currently, looking to do a role like mine, again, this is something that you would want to pursue, becoming a certified coach, just so that you know what these different programs do. And a lot of companies will offer, I'm going to break down the certified coach program, what it means, what it does for you. If you're interested in that and you're one of our teachers, let me know and I can send you resources if you're more interested in that certified coach program. Okay, so the remainder of this I'm going to spend on the Certified Innovator program. So this is considered Google's top level. So for you to even think about applying to be a certified innovator, you have to be Google certified level 1 and level 2. They tell you that you do not have to be a Google certified trainer. I will tell you that the majority of Google innovators that I know are also trainers. So I'm not saying that you have to have it, but does it look good when you fill out the application? Absolutely. Now, as for what Google Innovator is, if you stop and think about over the last few years when you've heard people talk about 20%, that Google offers to the Googlers, that they can have a passion project in addition to their job at Google, and something that they want to work on that is a passion of theirs. So that concept actually morphs into what it looks like to be a certified innovator. So basically what the Innovator program asks you to do is they ask you to think about a problem that you see in education, and you are to think heavily about that problem, and you have to document why you believe that it's a problem in education, and why there is a need, why there is a need for a change. And they're very big on how might we. So if you phrase your project that you are wanting to pursue, you pick a problem in education. But I learned this from going through the Innovator program. In the old days, it used to be that when you applied, they wanted you to already have a solution in mind. But what was communicated to me, and it is hard to think about this when you're filling out the application if you're interested, Google doesn't want you to have the solution. They want you to have, here is this problem in education, and that you've really researched and investigated why this is an area that needs to be improved. And then if you get selected, when Google goes through and they take a look at, okay, who are we going to accept in this next cohort, they determine what projects that they deem as, oh, this would be really good for someone to work on. Then if they tell you that you're in, that you got chosen, then they work with you to go through the design thinking process of how to come up with a solution. So they purposely do not want you to already say, okay, here's a problem and I've already got an idea of how I'm going to fix it. They really don't like that. They want it to be, I know this is a huge problem and it would be very daunting to think of how it could be tackled, but I know that it's something that needs to be addressed. And they walk you through different little mini sprints and design thinking strategies. My brain has never worked so hard in doing that whole process. but it is such a good process that you, by the time that you leave your time at the academy or, you know, in this Innovator program, when you're together with everyone, you have a solid foundation on what you're going to do to start on your project. So I think what's an easy way for me to kind of talk about the program is to kind of walk you through what I chose to do for mine so that you can see how I kind of went through the process. And obviously with COVID, they continue to do the program right now. When they have openings for the applications, when they announce it, right now they're doing virtual cohorts rather than having destinations where you go to a destination. I'm sure that once things with COVID settle down, and some of you might be going, oh, well, if it's only virtual, I might want to wait. I have no indication on how soon that they're going to even think about having it as a location-based program again. So if you're truly passionate about your project, don't let that get in the way. Go ahead and consider applying. So as I said, I'm going to go ahead and talk about my project. And I decided to focus on dyslexia. If you guys are not aware, I have 4 children, and out of my 4 children, 2 of them actually are dyslexic. And where this started to become something that I really wanted to be passionate about was that as I went through the journey with my own kids, I didn't even know what dyslexia was. We got our kids tested. And then as we got our kids tested and we found out that they were, I realized that navigating and getting the services that my kids needed for them being dyslexic, I was at an advantage because of the fact that I'm an educator and I know the process and I know the back end of what things need to happen. So if I sat in a meeting and someone said, oh, I don't think we can do that, I knew that they could, and I knew how to tackle that issue. As I learned more about dyslexia, it was hard for me to accept, but basically if you don't hit that K-2 window where they get identified, then the gap gets really large, really fast. And the fact that you have to be willing to invest a lot of your own money into private tutoring or coming up with other options, it really started to make me upset that I was like, wow, so basically if you have money, then your kid's going to be okay if you find out that they're dyslexic. And, you know, I mean, we're fortunate enough that, you know, we can take care of our own 2 kids. I was able to get training on dyslexia myself, but being an educator, it instantly creeped up into my mind that, wow, this is a severe disadvantage because if I'm someone of EL status, if I'm someone with low income, number one, I may not know the signs of getting my child checked. So they may be the type that may slip through the cracks. By the time I find out that there's a problem with my child, they're so far behind their peers that when someone says that they need to get additional tutoring and so on, I instantly freak out because I know I can't afford it. So what I did was then that became the basis of what I wanted to do for my Google Innovator project. What Google tells you that you have to do as part of the application is you have to submit a 1-minute video talking about you're basically, it's like a sales pitch. Like you're throwing the pitch at Google saying, this is the problem I see in education. And like you're dumping all of your findings and research into 1 minute. If I can give you any advice, if you decide to apply for this program, I cannot tell you how many people have told me, do not go over the 1 minute. If people don't adhere to their guidelines specifically, if they're interested in doing this program, it's like you're automatically that they don't even look at it. Because some people are like, well, I know it said a minute, but I mean, I just went a minute and 10 seconds or a minute and 30 seconds. That'll be okay. No, I had to like re-record my videos several times because I was like, okay, I got really close, but it wasn't at a minute. So I'm going to play for you what my video was so that you can take a look at that.
Hi, I'm Nadine Gilkison. I'm the District Technology Integration Specialist at Franklin Township Schools. As an educator and parent of 2 dyslexic children, I lay awake at night thinking about what could be done for my own kids and the other 1 in 5 students in the upper grades that are like them. I have the means to help my own kids outside of school, but how does a parent of low income and/or a language barrier face this type of challenge? How might we provide academic and social emotional support for upper grade students with dyslexia that's equitable and accessible for all? This challenge matters because it can impact graduation dropout rates, incarceration rates, and even social emotional pain for adolescents. My hope is that this window of opportunity can help impact millions of families with dyslexia.
So yeah, as you can see, I had to cram a lot of information into that 1 minute, and I had to practice that thing over and over and over again. And the way I had so much more information that I wanted to share, but what I realized was that if I used slides and I did my audio over the top, I could verbally say some things and I could have statistics and information on the slides. So that way I felt like, okay, I don't need to verbally say that because it's on the slide. So that way I felt like I could pack more information into that information. So on here, I really focused on, how is it that I can help out and create free resources? And I will tell you, that was really hard when I was at Google and I was trying to think of, okay, great, this is a great problem. But when you start to troubleshoot what that's going to look like, when they take you through that design thinking process, they're constantly having you think about the user. One of the things that really resonated with me, and they would have different panelists of Googlers that would come in and talk to us. And these are the people that are actively creating all these different Google tools and kind of like the Google mindset, the way that they are working in their environment and with their products. I feel like I gained a lot of insight into, hey, if that is how they're processing that information, that's how I can apply it to my project and beyond when I head back to our district. One of the things that they just kept always saying is, well, which user? And I will tell you that they had these giant fail bells that were on everybody's table. And as soon as you think that you're going one direction, they wanted you to know it is totally acceptable to be like, you know what? I got to start over. That route isn't going to work. And what they would do as we would be working, for several hours in a day, they would say, ring the fail bell if you feel like that you have to start over, because they were wanting to acknowledge the fact that everybody has that and failures are a good thing. And that whole concept, I think, is something that's good even to resonate with students. But because we've always stressed so much importance. If you're familiar with my project, you know that it ended up that all of these ideas turned into a blending board app. When I sat in dyslexic training, when I sat in there, I realized that they were using a lot of stacks of cards in a blending board because they wanted the kids to practice saying different phonemic skills and, different words and blending and all of those things. And I was like, holy cow, this is a lot of cards. Man, what if we could digitize this in some type of format? Now, the Google Innovator cohort that I was in was New York City, which was amazing. And of course, it was 2019. So it was like just right before the pandemic hit, which was awesome because we got to, get to see the inside of the Google offices and all those things. But at that time, when I was thinking about what am I going to do, and I had this blending board idea, they had to sketch it out. And I said, well, okay, it'd be an app. And they literally said, now get out paper, and I want you to like just use markers and sketch out what you think that you want it to look like. And I still have that posted in my office today. And they were saying that everything that they do is all on paper before they actually start to translate it into digital. They told us that we couldn't even use our devices, that we had to go through this whole process of what it would look like on the user's end, so that we could be constantly thinking about the user. In that aspect, at first in my project, I was like, okay, well, I just want this to be for teens. I want the teens to be the user. At first I was going to do a social media campaign, #dyslexic-mindset. And then I quickly realized, man, it is hard to do a social media campaign when I'm not a teenager, but trying to replicate that as a teenager. And I felt like a failure. And I thought, okay, so am I doing resources for parents? Am I doing resources for teachers, for kids? And I just kept telling them at Google, I really keep thinking of this blending board and all of these cards. And they were like, well, it sounds like that's what's telling you that that's the piece that you need to focus on instead. So I have a website, dyslexicmindset.com, where I have all these different resources, but really if I had multiple things going at once, I wasn't going to be very effective. So then I started to channel all of my energy into that app. I am good with graphic design, and I can make anything on Google Slides and whatnot, but am I a coder? No. I'm absolutely not a coder. And so I was kind of freaked out in the beginning of, okay, this is what I want, but I have no concept of how I can't physically do it myself. And I thought that the project meant that I had to create it myself. And I was beating myself up over that. And they were like, no, it's the process. You have the idea, but how can you get connections to people that can help you? And so I was getting kind of discouraged. And that was where the connection was, that someone said, well, Braden Gogus makes apps all the time. Have you thought about reaching out to him? And I was like, well, this is with Google. I kind of feel like I'm cheating on Google because this would be an iOS app. And when I reached out to my mentor with the Innovator program, they're like, Google does not care about that. They want you to have the largest reach, the biggest impact, because if you say that this is truly a project that you want to focus on for education and to make it better, it might be solved with a Google product, but it might not. And we're not going to discourage your project if it's not. So I said, okay. So then I started working with Braden, and I have tons of different concept drawings and Google Slides and notes and all kinds of things back and forth. But then he was able to release it. At this point, now we're in COVID, and all these teachers are grasping for, okay, I'm having to do all this virtual, and I used to use this physical blending board for these kids, and now I don't have that. And so I communicated to Braden, it would be awesome if we could get this released now, because I know teachers could really benefit from it. And it really took off from there, because once he was able to release it, he contacted me just a few days after and said it was at like 25,000 downloads, which he was totally psyched about. And to date, we released it in October, and to date, we're at 444,000. So definitely many, many people are using this tool, which makes my heart so happy. A big piece that was lagging was the fact that it was not available for Android. And I hated that, but Braden's a busy guy, and he was explaining to me that the process of putting it on Android meant that he was going to have to rebuild the app all over again. And I'm like, hey, the app is free. You've done all of this work for free. We'll get to an Android app eventually, but I'm not going to worry about that. At this point, let's just focus on the iOS. I reached out to the Google Innovator community, and I said to them, hey, this is what we've accomplished so far. Can anybody hook me up? because my whole thing was it had to be free. I had to find somebody who was willing to do the work for free, and I had to be somebody that was willing to sell the app for free. Which at first, again, I got discouraged because people were reaching out, but they wanted money, and I was like, they wanted to know my budget and all these kinds of things, and I was like, okay, this just isn't going to work out. Then through the community, I decided, you know what? Instead of just reaching out to innovators, I'm going to reach out to the Google certified trainers. And so when I sent it out to both of those groups, Edward Lee, who is actually out at Barnabas Robotics in California, saw the email that I sent out, was interested in the story, and he immediately reached out and said, hey, this is a really cool idea, and I've actually got a sophomore in my class, and she's learning how to use Flutter, which is what you can use to convert iOS to Android. And I think she would be a great fit for this. And I was like, I was practically crying when I was reading the email. And I was like, oh my gosh, this would be amazing if this would work out. And I especially love the fact that it's kids that are helping kids. And they're doing it not because they're trying to, get a leg up so that they could make money off of something and get a profit. They're doing it out of the kindness of their heart. I then did a phone call with Braden and with the teacher and Braden is so generous that he actually had the code for the blending board on GitHub, and he sent it so that way the girl didn't have to start from scratch. The story just keeps getting better and better. The next avenue of what I'm trying to do is to come up with a web app, because now that the girl released it on Android, which happened this week, it is on Android, but you can use it on a smartphone, an Android tablet. And we discovered if you are in Franklin Township and on your teacher Chromebook, Tyler figured out that we can actually load the blending board app on our teacher Chromebooks because they have the right specifications, which when I was talking to our kindergarten teachers, they were like, honestly, as long as I can get it on mine, that's what's going to help me because I can pull it up and use it with the kids. So if you're watching this and you are, a primary teacher or a teacher that works with kids, I wanted you to know that you can do that. So what Innovator has done for me is it has taken connections and exploded them. I am now actively, it's kind of like as you go up the certification and program route, you get access to a bigger and bigger and bigger community. You may have seen recently that we relaunched the Indiana Google Educator Group, and we're trying to, build up that group again so that way Indiana educators realize that the capabilities of us being able to help each other as a community is out there. But as you progress into trainer, I got access to more people at Google and outside of our district that I talk to on a regular basis. Innovator is like a whole nother level because I might be part of NYC 19, but there's tons of innovators in Indiana and beyond. And I know that it's a group that I can reach out to because you all know that you have that joined passion for education, that that everyone has a passion project that they're working on, and we all actively think of, how can I help this person out? How can I help this other person out? So you might be watching this and saying, oh my gosh, I think I have a project in mind. Or you might not have a project in mind. I know when I saw some friends getting into the Innovator program, I was like, yeah, I would really like to do that. But I had no clue what my project was going to be. And I was like, well, I don't want to just fill out an application because I'm probably going to get rejected. I have to really dig deep and find a project that's going to be really meaningful and it's going to impact millions of kids. And I had to wait until these different events happened in my own life to then realize, hey, I can take me finding out that my kids are dyslexic into what could I do to help those kids that might not be able to get the services that they need? And I was able to think bigger picture with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. There we go. I'm added back. So what I want to do is I'm going to stop having it share the screen. And if you guys have questions about Innovator, about any of these, I'm starting to take a look at it. I'm kind of going back up through the chat. Melanie, I know you asked, would it be beneficial to having both? Would it be beneficial for me, the trainer program? Yes, I definitely do. Again, I know people that are pursuing a master's in tech integration or they have an interest in doing something like that. I firmly believe that the more of these that you can have under your belt, the better that you look. So trainer and coach, it might be harder for you to become a coach because you're not actively in the role yet, but trainer you could definitely do. So I would definitely take a look at that. Laura, you were asking about the time commitment for the whole process. I'm not sure if you mean the time commitment to get certified. It does give ranges on the certification that it can be, I think 3 hours is what they say that it would take to get, feel like that you're ready to take the exam for the Google certifications. For trainer, that one takes a little bit longer just because it's a lot of an application. If you are thinking Google Innovator, that application, is pretty hefty in what it's asking you to do. And so it definitely is a lot more time consuming. So hopefully this was more like an intro, but if you guys have questions about the Innovator program, getting Google certified, any of that, feel free to reach out to me. If you
channel. Today, I want to walk you through a couple resources you can get from me and some from Google, and then how to get to the level 1 educator exam, and then, what to expect on it. So it's kind of like a full walkthrough look at it. I'm not going to be training you on the exam, but I'm going to give you every tool you need and walkthroughs and checklists on how you can be successful and pass this exam. A little bit about this, as you may know, to become certified with Google, you can become a level 1 certified educator. That's a 3-hour test. It costs $10. It's the one we're looking at today. After you pass that, you can take another 3-hour test. I think it costs $25 last time I checked. And it's like the first one, but you're like bringing in, Google Sites, YouTube, a lot of these other Google products that are a little bit more advanced, and, doc sheets, slides, Gmail, things like that, forms. Those are more in the level 1. You're going to bring in that other stuff in level 2, although it might touch on it. So a lot more sharing, a lot more integration on level 2, but you have to pass level 1 first. So if you're not a Google level 1 educator, I highly recommend staying with me as I go through this video. This is a great certification to have. I've interviewed over 200 teachers for teaching positions, and I think maybe we had 1, maybe 2 that came in and had their Google level 1 educator exam. It's a $10 exam, and most people that are comfortable with Google could probably pass it. So I'm going to give you a checklist and a look at it to see if you can pass it now, or maybe you need to watch a few videos and pass it. I highly recommend, as an administrator for schools, I would highly recommend you get this on your resume, whether you want to stay at your district forever, or maybe you want to move up at that district or go somewhere else. Get this. It shows a lot of your abilities within the program that everybody's using. So sorry, this is me building it out on my Patreon. So if you're watching this, this is for my Patreon members only. If you're seeing it on YouTube right now, it's because I have it there until I switch it over, and it's only for Patreon. So it'll just be available to them. So if you want to join the Patreon family, hit that link you see below my face, patreon.com/Tyler Tarver. And I have links to that in the description. Okay, for everybody else in Patreon, you're watching this video in there. All the links are under the video. All the things I'm going to talk about will be under there. Okay, so whenever you are taking the level 1 exam, I'll link to this website. This is from Google. This is your level 1, earn your educator level 1 certification. I don't know why I said certification weird, but you're going to earn this mug. 3 hours, we already talked about that. It's 180 minutes. And it's $10. You can register right here. So I'm going to link to this on the Patreon. So if you want to go and take it, if you feel comfortable, if you look through the stuff I'm about to show you and you're like, I feel like I got all that, most of that, cool. Hit register. You're good to go. Okay. Start taking that. I've also left my ID in there. My trainer ID is 04118 if you need that. 04118. It'll ask you that at some part in there. So if I helped you use these resources, you're more than welcome to use me as the trainer that helped you. So here are some resources on their page. Here is a link, and I want to show you this before we get into my stuff. We got this for practice problems. I'm going to link that PDF. I downloaded and re-uploaded it. It's attached in the Patreon if you want to just get it from there, or you can take it from here. And we're going to walk through a few of those questions, give you some examples, something to look at, kind of what to expect as you do this exam. And then also here is start the training. So Google has their own training stuff too. It's very formal. It's Google. I mean, it's done with excellence, and it's organized based on different topics. So what they did was they took different topics and made them units. And then inside of that, they've broken it down into these different parts of, here we go. I'll read them out to you if that's okay. You can read, but I'll read them anyways. You're ready to use tech in the classroom. And then it's got different things you can use through that. Expand your help and learning. I've actually got videos on how to do all these. This is the curriculum I used. Expand your access and help and learning. Have a mostly paperless classroom. Save time communicating. All these things are super important. If you get a chance to go through these, I would highly recommend it. What I'm going to show you is the resource I have is more for like, hey, let's pass this exam and let's get you on to the next one, the level 2 exam. Then once you pass both of those, then you can apply to be a trainer or an innovator. So there is that. You'll need to log in. You can just use your school account. I would recommend your personal Gmail account, because in case you leave that school, it'll still be connected to that. Because whatever you log in and take these tests with, that say you do move on and become a trainer, there's like this activity area where you input all your trainer stuff, and you'd want to use your personal account, because if you ever leave your district, you want it to stay with that. So I'll link to this page so you can take the test. I'll link directly to the test as well. So I'll give all these links under the description in Patreon under this video. So if you want those, there they are. Now I'm going to show you my resource that I made in collaboration with Eric Kurtz. Eric Kurtz made this actually a few years ago. He made a skills checklist. He took, I think there's like 240 different skills that you need, all the way from like how to create a new Google Doc all the way into like, voice recording and voice typing and all this other stuff. So it's a wide range of skills, but it's pretty comprehensive. He made a list of all of these skills and made it to like a checklist. So here's, you can take a look and see these are all, check boxes where you can go in and, take care of that stuff. Now, what I did was I took his checklist with his permission. I asked him first. I made a copy of it. And then what I did is I made a tutorial video for every single one of these skills. So every single thing in here, if you're looking at it, you're like, oh, Google Sheets, and you're looking through, you're like, I know how to create a Google Sheet. I know some vocabulary. I know how to format cells. How do I use formulas and functions? You could click on it and it'll take you to a YouTube video of me explaining how to do that in just a few minutes. And so it's me breaking that down for you. It's weird hearing myself in my ear, but also like talking through here. So you can roll through this. And here's what I would recommend. Give you like a user tip. This is a lot, okay? And it's honestly can be overwhelming if you're trying to do this. Here's what I would do. You ready? I'm going to walk you guys through it. Go to File, make a copy. Now, it's going to be a copy of what I just had. So if I ever update it, you won't get the new updates. But this is pretty set. Like it doesn't change a whole lot with regards to these exams. So now this is your copy. You weren't able to edit my copy a second ago, okay? But you can take this new copy and you can edit it. And this is how I recommend you study for this exam. As you're going through it, let's start out in Google Drive. Let's say you know how to create files. Just delete that. You could take that, delete it. Boom. Okay, do I know how to access and organize files? Yeah, I can do both of those. Delete those. And it's like you can work your way down and delete the stuff you don't know how to do until you can just look at it and be like, oh yeah, I know how to share files. And you know exactly what to do. And if not, you can click on it and go through the resource. And it's something you can edit because you made a copy of it. You took mine, you took that freeze frame of what it looked like, and now you can delete everything out of it. So go in here. This is like a quick jump. So say you want to jump to like Google Meet. You just click this and it'll jump down to where Google Meet is in this spreadsheet. Now, if you see these up here, you see how I highlighted the titles. that is like a full walkthrough. And so if you're like, oh, I need to know how to do Google Meet, and these are all like little short videos, all these are like 5 minutes or less each. This right here is a longer one. It's like a 30-minute video of me going through Meet. There's a 45-minute video on, actually, that's 55-minute video on Gmail. You're like, I don't need 55 minutes on Gmail. If you're overwhelmed by email, yes, you do. Okay. So I think this is a great resource for you. I think it could severely help you with your training for the exam. And so if you want that, that is linked below as well. Or the short link is bit.ly/gtarver. But you won't have to use that because I have the link below if you're a Patreon subscriber. And I've also got my ID right here if you want to use me as your trainer. If not, totally cool. You do you. It just means that I helped you with it. So let's look at a few questions that you might face on the exam. So Google is kind enough to give us a sample exam questions. You're going to get a lot of multiple choice, but then you also get scenario stuff. Okay, so I'm going to kind of read a couple to you. And I know most of you guys are teachers. You train students on this. I get that. But I'm going to kind of give you some walkthrough because of their wording. It's like, especially in areas if you're not like, oh, I'm super comfortable with it, they're trying to word it in a way that you have to really pay attention to the questions. So let's look at the first one. So sample question 1. Students in your history class are having difficulty understanding the significance of World War II. So you know you're studying World War II. What activities could help your students get more engaged? Okay, we want to get them engaged. So it's not about testing, it's not about assessment, it's about getting them engaged in World War II, which I'm going to highlight that as well so you can see it. Okay, so let's take a look at it. Oh, look, these little check boxes. I didn't mean to do that. Students create YouTube videos describing key battles in World War II. That looks like a good answer. Okay, students create YouTube videos describing key battles. I mean, that seems engaging. Seems like students be into it. You're using YouTube, which is a Google product. Seems good. Teacher creates a final exam in forums to give students a grade on what they know. Now you're like, okay, well, forums is Google, but that's not really about engaging. Remember your questions. This is stuff you teach students all the time. What activities could help students get more engaged? Taking a test is not going to make them more engaged. Okay, it's just a way for you to assess what they're doing. Students use the Explore tool to search for more information in docs. That might be engaging. They're doing more research. I think it's better than the previous one, but I wouldn't go with it right away. Students answer questions at the end of the chapter on World War II. That seems super not engaging as well. If you're picking the top 2 most engaging ones for students, I would definitely go with these 2 right here. I just messed everything up. Oh my goodness. There we go. So use the Explore tool to search for more stuff in docs. And these, it's really what they're testing you on is your terminology. So if you don't know what the Explore tool is in docs, then that one probably doesn't make a lot of sense to you. But you could go over here and you just hit Command F, and I'm looking for Explore. And it's not in there, but there is an Explore tool. It's right here. I'm in docs. This down here in the bottom right is your Explore tool. I don't know if you needed to know that, but apparently this practice question wasn't on there. They've changed the name, maybe. I have to look. It makes me super self-conscious now. But, you know, I trust Eric. He made the list, and he's a smart dude. So those would be the 2 that I would use. They do have a lot of drag and drop stuff in the exam. So drag and drop to match the feature of Gmail with the benefit of using the tool. So they're going to have benefits over here. They didn't include those, but you need to know the terminology. So this terminology right here, so canned responses. I've actually done videos on this. I've done training. I've included in my Patreon group. It's the stuff where it's like you can build templates out. They call those canned responses. They're just email templates where you can send it, like open up an email, click it, and it like fills in everything. So by the way, if you want those, they're on Patreon, and I've got some for discipline and for truancy and if they miss virtual classes. So Patreon. Anytime, anywhere access. So that just means that it's available on the internet. And then labels, that's just the way that Google uses. They also call it tags. So they tag in there as well. So we should do, like, would you guys want, let me know in Patreon if you would be interested in us doing, like, I don't know, like we all work towards this training. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now, but if you wanted to, like, we could do this summer, like a full PD. We do like a 1 or 2 day thing for any Patreon member. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I'm building out my summer virtual PD stuff right now. Here's another one. Your students have answered a few questions about an upcoming presidential election. It's very relevant. And submitted their results in a Google form. Okay, Google Forms you need to know for this exam. You want to review their opinions to prepare for an upcoming class. Okay, Access the election options and view the results in a spreadsheet. Sort the sheet. So this would be one where you would, like the case study side of it. So it's like you're taking what they're starting with, and then you're going in, you're going to build it. So they give you like a fake email, this like a burner account if you want. It's like a fake email, a fake account where you can go in and make copies of stuff in Drive and share things. And they've already got documents in there. So it's not like empty, like you're starting from scratch, but they'll give you stuff and then you got to go in and share it and do all the stuff they're talking about. I know all of these things are in there. So after you just like practice these out, you can check those off. And the last one, we want to be sure the students are able to view your award winners broadcast at a later date. Sorry, I hiccuped in my head. You decide to share. That was my dog, not me. My dog just growled at himself. You decide to share the video again to your YouTube channel to maximize views. Complete the following tasks. All right, and I've got all these examples of how to do that there. So this is from Google, and I'll include this in your stuff that you have as Patreon people, Patreon members, fam, what's up, Patreon. So there you go. I hope these tools help. I hope this assists you as you go through and prepare for this exam. I highly recommend it. If you have any questions, you guys know I'm here. Hit me up. Ask me if you're concerned about something. If there's something I said that I need to clarify on, you can hit me up, message me in Patreon, and I got yo back. So hope this helps. Stay good, stay sweet. And like we always say here at Tarver Academy YouTube channel, never stop learning. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
We did it. We did it. We learned something. Did you learn something today? In the chat, I want you to put the thing that you are taking away from today. Put one thing in the chat right now that you have learned or that you have realized or that's reinforced something you think. Put that one that I like to call this the golden nugget. Put the golden nugget from today in the chat. And that way, if somebody's missed it or they checked in, go ahead and you guys can copy paste what other people put. If there's some advice, you can screenshot it. Get this. I want you to throw in the best thing you learned today. It's like a best of highlight reel for your favorite thing that happened during this training. Toss that in the chat right now so we can share and grow together. Okay, we're about to do the evaluation. Before we do, I want to remind you, if you want access to this entire training at any time throughout the year, not just these live broadcasts, you can join the Tarver Academy Honor Roll. Why'd I do this? Hey guys, Tarver Academy Honor Roll. It's like Netflix for teachers. Netflix for teachers, because you have resources, you have templates, you have PDs, trainings. It's literally like a library of trainings, and then access to ask questions, to request resources that I build and send out to teachers all around the world. So tarveracademy.com/honor roll if you want to join the greatest community on the planet. And I'm not biased at all. I mean, all of us, you're on the honor roll. You want to be on the honor roll? Sick. Let's all be on the honor roll. And I'm a dean, so keep me on the dean's list. Hey, that works. Okay. All right. Now it's time for your evaluation. I'd love to get your thoughts on what you thought for this, but also I'm going to send you a certificate saying that you sat through this training. You put in the time. You wanted to learn. You wanted to grow. You wanted to get better. This is going to be a certificate that I'm going to email to you. What I need you to do is I need you to go to the link on the screen or hover over the QR code with your phone. Get your phone out, hover over it. It's going to ask you a few questions. If you don't get this, it means that you put your email address in wrong. Make sure, please do not rush this. Type your email address in correctly. Please, I'm begging you, because if not, you're gonna email me, I never got my certificate. It's because your email address is wrong. Type in your email address correctly, fill it out, fill out your name, make sure you capitalize, make it look good, because it's gonna fill into the certificate from this. So I need you to put this in correctly, please. Okay, go there, we're gonna walk you through it. Go into this, click on the link, or you can't click on the link because it's on a video. Type in the link on your computer or type it in on your phone or whatever device you have. Scan the QR code, fill it out. I'm gonna send you a certificate with a timestamp on it saying what time you ended. You have proof from earlier if you sent in to the other link of what time you started. And then you also got your notes and all the stuff you've learned, your screenshots, all of that to show your administrator or whoever, your spouse, you show your friends, show people on the streets, all the learning that you did. You can frame that certificate. I think we're all getting framed. You get a frame, I'm getting framed. I'm gonna put it up on my shelf. I got too much stuff on my shelf already. So look at this, Lonzo Ball rookie card. If you got any, by the way, you got any basketball cards you wanna sell, hit me up. I've been slightly obsessed with basketball cards, and I apologize for bringing it up. Look at this. I've got, this is all Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball, I mean, he's the GOAT. Everybody says it. Who's in the chat? Who is your favorite basketball player of all time? I'd love to know. If it's Lonzo Ball, it's quite the coincidence because I had it sitting on my desk. If not, it's probably this guy. Probably this guy right here. See that guy? That's Michael Jordan. No big deal. It's whatever. Don't like to brag about it. I mean, it's not that expensive, that card. But if you got any cards you want to sell, holler at me. I don't know why I said that. I'm just stalling so you guys can fill out your evaluation. All right. Y'all feel good? I'm gonna leave this on the screen for you for a little while in case you had to step out for a second. I'm gonna leave this up. Thank you again so much for your attention and your time and everything that you put into learning and growing with us today. I'm Tyler. This is Tarver Academy. Let's learn and have fun. See you guys later.